All right, guys, 2 o'clock. Welcome to the close. Let's get into the final 2 hours of what has been quite the trading session. Back in positive territory for both the S&P and the NASDAQ. The Dow, yeah, lagging a little bit, 0.4 to the downside, but everything else faring much better than it looked like anyways as we open things up this morning. The TSX here in Toronto, 0.4 to the upside. Brazil still trading higher. Crude oil was more than 2.5% at one point, so coming off a bit. Bitcoin and Ethereum in the red as well. Few stocks to keep in mind for the afternoon. Moving around, some top stocks being traded this afternoon. Bed Bath & Beyond, Rivian, Meta Platforms up 3.3%, Beyond Meat, CrowdStrike. Yeah, some of the cybersecurity names having a bit of a bounce today. Wells Fargo as well, the financial sector, as we said, in charge, doing quite nicely, in fact, showing lots of relative strength. I'll show you this board. There it is. In fact, top left corner, the banking group, it's the individual banks here leading the way, 5% for SIVB, PBCT, SBNY, CFG, to name a few, all mostly in positive territory here. Tech stocks, yeah, nice rally back off those lows we saw this morning. NLOC, PayPal, yeah, 3.5% for PayPal, FTNT, GPN, ACN, all in positive territory. Semiconductors bouncing back as well. Humana, yeah, negative news this morning, 18% to the downside today. UNH right behind it there, 3.5% in negative territory. A few other groups to keep in mind over here in the corner. Energy stocks, we saw 1.7 for crude oil. It's been a pretty good day for Marathon, Hess, Fang, Devon Energy there, and Apache, all three to almost 5%. There it is, Meta up there in the corner, 3.4% as we saw. Pretty good day. I'll show you the NASDAQ here pretty quick, but just so you have an idea of how things are rallying back. So you saw there as I flipped over, that was yesterday. This is today. So nice bounce back for tech stocks today. Chinese names near front and center here. JD.com, PDD, Baidu, all having quite the bounce back as well. 5 to 10% almost for Pinduoduo. As we said, we'll jump into a few things that were on the docket this morning. If you joined us at 8:30 this morning, we talked about what was setting up for ideas heading towards the open at 9:30. We're going to kick things off this afternoon as we do with a look at a single trade. Here comes Sean with a review of one of his.
Hey guys, today we got the red and black lumberjack and we're chopping down some trees here with SoFi. Today was kind of a good day for SoFi, but you had to be patient. We talked about this name on our sticky note here and we've been loving SoFi on any major sort of NASDAQ day. If we think there's gonna be a kind of recovery, we wanna look at this name. But remember, it's still red on the day. So although we just went over a few different names that have been up today, SoFi is still down on the day, but that doesn't mean we can't make money on the long. So I'm just going to identify right now, this is what I do. This is going to be a daily, but it's just because SoFi hasn't had too much data here. But you can go back all the way to August and find out that this 1350 has been the bottom, and it was actually trying to hold out right here as well, near 14 bucks. So we had an idea today that we wanted to go long SoFi, that we thought that yesterday's move here down, I mean, look at this. This has been 5 straight days from 17 all the way down to 14. Sort of thought that maybe 1350 would hold today. We put that on the sticky note and we're traded accordingly. Right away, the market opens up and we're trading around 14 bucks. Normally, we'd be like, oh, okay, let's take a 14 long, see if 14 holds. But no, we've done the deeper dive and we want to get 1350. With that being said, our first build of a position, we lay out our orders and you're going to see a couple more kick in right here. But it comes down, hits us right here, and it's not a full position. What we're trying to do is just say, hey, if it dips down here and then rips like happens, we want to make sure we make some early money on this. So we get in and then it's just start to take it out. 10 cents, 20 cents back there where VWAP is. Then we get them all out near 14, spikes above 14 and we get another piece out. Then as it's breaking back down below 14, that's it. We take out our last spot. SoFi, nice win there. Good trade. Then, let it fall down. Comes falling in, hits us right here. We take a 60, then we take a 50. Remember, we're trying to defend that 50 level. However, that's about a 55, sorry. Once it breaks down through 50, we get out at 45. So we give a little bit of slippage. And again, look at the profit here and then look at the loss on when we're wrong. Okay, it falls down, we're out. We're not even holding shares. And if we are, it's 5, 10, 15% of our normal of our regular starter position. So we're basically flat. Then it comes down. And this is the key thing here about what we showed you on the show. I highlighted this as 13 level, okay? We saw on the level 2, which are the bids and the offers of the stock, we saw about 150,000 shares or so back down at 13. So we put on the risk versus reward trade. And this is my biggest position of the day here. We put it on. And the reason why this is at 13.0, what is that? It's about 05. I think it was actually 06. I'm still in some of the trade. Actually, no, I got out right there. My bad. I think it's 13.06 that we took there. So the point is we're looking at about a 6 cents plus or minus slippage, maybe 10 cents worth of a hit if it breaks back down below 13, which it already showed us there's some strength here at that number. So it already bottom wick down. We talked about the wick off bottoms. There's a beautiful one right there. Thank God we were noticing that. We put on the trade, and then you're just seeing boom, explosion to the upside, bang, 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 all the way to the upside, and we start to get the majority out. Each one of these is actually 10%. You can add them up. There's 10 ticks out there. Majority of the outs right around here, 13.35. Remember, we told you that this was a bigger position for us, so we're willing to take less on the per penny basis, but again, it's affecting our net much greater than even this trade was. So out, out, out. You take a piece out there ahead of 13.50. We're like, oh my God, this is great, right? Remember, the market is absolutely collapsing. So the fact that SoFi is starting to move back up, we don't have that crystal ball, which I think is very important to understand. You have to trade with a plan. And when this starts to come back up, and actually shout out to Daryl, because in the chat, he was like, Sean, you wrote down 13.50 as support. So maybe it's going to be resistance on the upside. And you see, it's pretty right. It battles around here between 13.60 and 13.40, and then takes off. We have our last 10%. We get it out. We let it go up, but we get it out as it falls back through 13.75. So it's about a 70-cent winner on the last piece, and most of them out between 30 and 40 cents. It's SoFi, and it actually worked out pretty good, but you had to be patient. You had to wait for that number. We have tons of huge trades today. AMC, Rivian, but I like SoFi. It planned out the best. We had reasons, and we gave it to you live on our show. Make sure you watch us every day, 8:30 all day. tradertv.live on YouTube, programming all day.
Yeah, it was one of those days where you really had to have a plan. You had to do your homework and come up with significant levels that mattered this morning. There was a good look at SoFi and some matters or levels that came into effect during the open this morning. Let's talk a little bit further about what was moving around in the pre-market. That's the watch list, guys. If you need an absolutely free resource every day, we do all your homework for you, put it in one easy place to get a hold of it. And we go from there at 8:30. I wanted to kick things off with this. This is the U.S. 10-year Treasury. We're getting close to, this is a weekly chart, by the way. So it's been quite the week here for Treasury yields. Back to this high here, which if I zoom out a little bit, you can see is all the way back to the beginning of 2021. So big move up for Treasuries. We'll talk about the banks here a little bit this afternoon, but I wanted to mention this to start things off as well. Bed Bath & Beyond. We saw it on that board, one of the top stocks today. Earnings, yeah, they actually weren't that great, but it seemed like the call almost that kicked this buying off. We had this flush down in the pre-market when the report came out, and then from 12 all the way to 16.5 almost at the top there.
So just quickly, I want to talk about Bed Bath & Beyond because I was actually in that pre-market. But RCL, there was Hindenburg came out with a short sell report just saying it's one of the most dislocated reopening stocks in the market today. It did fall like $3 here or $2.50 from 80 level. There was support at about 79, 65 or 70. I just went short off of that, like basically shorting the pop, and then going to use that previous low where it just flushed through as my out. But Bed Bath & Beyond, it was crazy. Like, that move was so insane this morning that when we came in and Brendan did the watch list. The watch list this morning, originally it said Bed Bath & Beyond reports and is down 10%. And by the time we were talking about it in the morning, I had shorted it like twice, which should have been 3 times. Actually, no, it was 3 times, 3 separate times. And it was up 10% on the session. And then actually tried to break out at 16. So again, it's about the shortable interest in this name. You're seeing it kind of barcoding now, but it's about the shortable interest in this name, and that means it can make some power moves in the mornings, or power moves at any time when you have news. Squeezes are prone to happen here, especially when it's depressed like that. And this is sort of the key. Like the example of like why Bed Bath & Beyond wasn't so bad for me short on the way up here and Tesla long stunk was, in this particular case, it's like take the out at each key level and then get back in actually on momentum to the downside so you can make some back, and make sure that you always trade with a bit of a stop. So as long as you do that, you can go counter trend, but it's all about the squeeze here on Bed Bath & Beyond. A lot of names were like recovery plays from being beaten up. This was more about the short interest in the squeeze, in my opinion, not necessarily the V-shaped recovery, because the V-shape on all these other stocks that you see, like whether it's Rivian or Tesla, doesn't any of those, that was at the bottom at the open and then reversed. Bed Bath & Beyond did the opposite of that. It had already made the V-shaped recovery, and then it spiked and then faded when the rest of the market was doing the opposite. So I'm not sure this necessarily has too much left in it. Maybe if it took out a 15 level, it could get a little something going to the upside. But it was crazy pre-market action. You can never sleep on this one when they report.
And so like you mentioned there, Neil, yeah, I saw that too. I wasn't even looking at the short. Like we talked about this violent pre-market, short flow means this. Try the long break at 12.50, but it was gone already. So the only thing that we missed was watch out for the pre-market break, which happened, and it was cash money. But you had to have it there in the pre-market, off that pre-market break. And unfortunately, I wasn't sitting there, was into too many other names. I like this call on Royal, so I'm going to be short right now as well. I waited for a pop-up there, so I'm short 79.40-35 on this name. So we'll see where it goes back down. For me, yeah, this is a hard hold until we at least get above this 80-20 area. So like, I'm willing to lose on this one. The market hopefully comes back in a little bit here for this trade. But again, Hindenburg's been pretty horrible on their short calls. So I'm not going to think that this one's going to be a monster, but we'll try to take it. And even if I can get $1 on this, that's going to be pretty darn good. So we'll see if we get back to the downside. We're short here on that call there for RCL. Shout out to Hindenburg, hopefully, if that's who it was. Oh yeah, Hindenburg Research, right, yep. All the way down to 78.30, maybe my first target. And we always say this, I try to get, so like, for me it doesn't matter, long or short, you're gonna see me in everything all the time. But this play here, a nice dip down, right? And then back up. So the thing is, if the market wants to sell off now, this name has reasons. Now, whether or not, again, I'm just going off the momentum here, so I don't know if it's going to be a right call or not, but we'll play this momentum down. We've seen Disney, my failed trade of the day here, Disney. You want to talk about a sticky note failure, like follow your own damn notes here, my friend. Long before 154 support. If the support's going to be 154, I got to give this a little more room than this. Guys, I gave it to 153.90 and then I got out. And now look where Disney is. This trade right here is $3, $4 in the money right now. And unfortunately, we got out, thankfully, we held a little bit. It took 75 cents on the trade. But other than that, man, it should have been a multiple dollar winner. So let's see what Hindenburg and what RCL has to do here. Did this affect Brendan's CCL?
Yeah, it did.
Is more the question. So I just yeah, it did. But okay, so CCL goes down on that and then now bouncing around a little bit. So yeah, I think we got the right name here. Let's just trade where the news is. Maybe you could take a piece off here if you want to take 40 cents, but honestly, 40 cents is not going to do anything here for me today. So let's see if we get back to the downside, 78.20 or so, the first target for me. Let's call it 78.50. I trade around the 50, so we'll put a piece here, make 80 cents, and then see if the rest wants to ride. Let it ride, Brendo.
Yeah, NCLH as well, guys, having a bit of a tick to the downside on that note as well for RCL. Obviously, it's not necessarily an RCL thing, but an industry thing that they are still dealing with. I wanted to bring up this Humana because HUM. It's been a long time. I was looking at a daily chart, trying to find the last time this thing was down as much as it is. Yeah, they were making some changes to their plans that they have available for their customers this morning in the pre-market. So that was out, I think it was about 8 o'clock this morning, and that thing got absolutely tanked in the pre-market, to say the least. They're also cutting 2022 individual growth estimates for HUM. So tough day for that one.
There was a few names that just flew under the radar that got absolutely destroyed today. This is obviously a bigger cap name than Dogs, which got absolutely punked. But it's an ugly rollover, down like 19%. It's trying to recover here. I'm just not sure. like today, I don't know if you want to be fighting any of these. Anything that wants to be like overly weak, like I was looking at that dogs, it's like don't even try to pick a bottom on something like this. It's just if something is going to be weak, you just got to be able to leave it alone. I 100%, I literally just told you guys that previous support level when RCL came out, I had my stop 10 cents away from that actual support. So it actually did not break that top, and I got stopped out anyways. I'll try to get back in, but I'm not touching Humana basically without a 10-foot pole. Again, if something like this were to give you like some kind of like a short pop into a level that I could grab a hold of, like that would be one thing, but I'm just not seeing it. I was asked about this because I know we go back to some of the positions we had earlier, and I was in ear all day, and we got a question about this. Someone asked, I think it was right at the end of the midday movers, because EAR had broken VWAP, and I got the last of it out flat. So this is a stock that was in the money $1, and then got the last of it out flat, trying to hold the last for a bit of a home run. So a bit of a bullish move, and Trader Prad was mentioning this. When you get that runner and gapper, and then it starts capitulating, but holds the low, like holds well past that 7 a.m. sort of support, holds it all afternoon, starts grinding off and makes that run into VWAP. Usually that's pretty bullish for a first day move, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. Another thing I'm watching, Beyond Meat, which is up 14%, is right at this triple top at 67 high of day.
All right. Yeah, so again, this is the thing. You know, we trade differently, right? I mean, I see some people saying that Neil got out of RCL. Yeah, he explained why and where. And
that was a keystroke error.
Oh, that was a keystroke
100%.
On RCL.
100%.
Okay. So, all right. So there we go. So I was going to say basically nothing to do with trading, just the fact that we both have different plans. And I mean, you know, a lot of it has to do with share size, how well you feel about the trade and things like that, right? Like, I mean, realistically, to be honest with you, like when you take this trade on momentum, like getting out at 79, probably, like we had no idea to trade RCL today. So I basically, to take one of Neil's lines, like, you know, looked that gift horse in the mouth. It went all the way down 40 cents in the money and I didn't take it, right? So again, you're going to have to like trade your own book, trade your own style. And like, you know, sometimes like if you have 1,000 shares there and it goes 40 cents in the money, you know, take the $400. But if you have 100 shares and it's only $40, then that you know, the risk that you're taking, because I'm trying to bring this all the way back up here to 8. I'm not trying to, but if it comes up here to 80.20, this is going to be a level of concern for me. So there's no way I can be short 79.35 and then get out for 80.20 plus slippage. That's $1 worth of risk. So that's why down here, I'm looking to get out somewhere near $1 worth of a win and then use the rest to fly if it goes a little bit lower. But anyways, okay, so that was a keystroke error, so it doesn't really matter. But that's just what I wanted to explain, because I think yesterday we were both, one of us was long Longeveron, or one of the names, and one of us was short. I think we both wound up losing on it, I think, to be honest with you. But I think Brendan, it just goes to show.
Yeah, like you had to short that Longeveron, I remember that well. Like you had to short it like 3 separate times off the same setup. And the third time is what ended up working, which isn't necessarily the end of the world. Like, you can do that. I was just like, oh my goodness, I was so frustrated with it that I gave up. And then I looked back on it at like 10:30 or something. I wanted to like just sort of slap myself in the face. But yeah, I was just saying on RCL, it's a good point to bring it up, but this was the support level. It's like 79.70 right here that I was going to put the stop at. It went to like 68, 69 by a couple of cents, but I misjudged the stop, and I actually put it 10 cents lower at 61 and not 71. So that's actually me getting out when my stop was up here. It's splitting hairs, but if you go off a level like that, you actually want it to be broken because you use that level because other people are looking at it on the chart. Like that's the entire point of it, right? So if you kind of don't actually hold to it, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Bed Bath & Beyond, just real quickly, I want to come to it because it is looking like it's trying to break out right now. Loading data. There you go. Bed Bath & Beyond, it did break 67 just after noon, so the high of the day is actually 67.20, but you can see 1, 2, now 3 times it's trying to breach this number and go through this top. The market's stalling out. Like Bullard was talking, and I think reiterated some of what I guess happened yesterday, and the market's been going sideways to slightly down since then. I could see maybe that if we have some of these fail to break a high, you could have a nice little tight stop short. I'm looking for it to maybe fail this break, get back below 67 for a little bit, give a consolidation, then I would try to short beyond Bed Bath & Beyond. Otherwise, I mean, it's up 15%, and with that, Bed Bath & Beyond. Beyond Meat, sorry. It's at Bed Bath & Beyond on my mind because of earnings. That's my bad. It's been a long day. But Beyond Meat, it is trying to break out here. It made that wick off bottom, or whatever you want to call it, and now trying to break 67. But there is a ton of resistance on the daily, up around $70 anyways. That's why I kind of think it can be shorted, especially if the market can't seem to follow through at this top.
Yeah, we are still in some of this Ford here. So what a monster this trade has been here today. And I'm going to tweet it out right now about the sticky note, but I mean, what's up to Sticky Note Nation? This has been a monster day for me, a monster trade here on Ford. And I mean, we just did SoFi, but SoFi is fine. It's a good trade. I mean, I'm happy with it, obviously, but Ford is going to be, after I get out of this, it will be my number. I'm still in it, so unrealized, but my number one stock on the day. We talked about it right here off the sticky note. And you guys, I mean, most of you have been on the show for a while and you know about the sticky note, but hit it up. Just do hashtag sticky note. Why is this so small? There it is. Look at this. Ford hit it. It got hit yesterday, but should rebound today. Look long 24 break. That's fine. That would have worked. Or not just but there is support down here at 23.50. So if you look to see what happened just right now on Ford, you see we're all the way up to 20. Oops, that's not Ford. We're all the way up to 24.40. But this is what we did. It dips down, and look at this bid, man. We didn't even take the 24s because it rifled to the downside here, and we get 23.60. Bang, 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 all the way to 24.20. Then it comes down. We get the last piece out there. We reloaded here, reloaded there. But it does break back down below 50, so we get out. So at this point, we're kind of flat on Ford because we do take a hit there. But we notice and say, you know what? We're going to go long on this thing again. The market, if it rebounds, we like Ford. We like what it did yesterday. So again, taking the long 50, using the bottom of 35, that's why. Look, long 50. Look at where the majority of these outs are. 65, 70, 75. So again, making the risk to reward very profitable for us. And then now we still have a piece of this, and we're long Ford right now, 92 cents in the money off of what was going to be a 15-cent hit. So there you go again, another 6-to-1 risk to reward. Look at Ford. It's taking out past highs. We do have a high rate here, guys, $25. So we'll see. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't remember Ford getting this high. And by the way, Brendan, what is going on with DraftKings right now? I mean, DraftKings is off to the races, up 6%, almost straight up. I mean, it kind of looks like Ford.
It looks set to launch mobile sports betting on Saturday for New York. That just came out like 40 minutes ago. But
okay, well, that's probably what it is because, whoa, get away from me. I don't need to show this. Look at DraftKings, absolutely on one. Yeah, 40 minutes ago, it makes sense. Rate 12. Yeah, right now it's 230. So it started to sort of get going around 120. Yeah, exactly. So perfectly makes sense. Takes out this high there and takes off. For me, that's a huge sell the news situation. But again, congratulations anybody long DraftKings. I have not been able to find my way back into this. The last trade I made was getting out of my long here at 62. I've held a lot all the way to the garbage, but this one I did not. So for some reason, we're able to get out there. I don't know why. I know why we did. We can go back and show you. But wow, a big, nasty move down here for DraftKings. Hopefully this gets it back going. I mean, New York, California, there's no bigger market. So it's nice to see them get on board with New York. But remember, FanDuel's already there. So I don't really know what this is going to mean for DraftKings, but we'll see. It's only a good sign.
It was always going to, I mean, on a day like today where those beat up names have been coming up, like I guess it was always going to be a little bit strong. So I guess it's kind of like icing on the cake to get positive news when it was already near a high. That's the kind of thing that can push it through. Or for people that are like, I just shorted Beyond Meat at the top. Or like if you're short off of a high of the day like that when it's consolidating and then positive news comes out, well, that stops you out. That's momentum for the long. So I guess that's what's happening there. As I said, I got back in RCL. I took a little bit out there. My stop is tighter, so my first target's going to be tighter. Like Sean said, it's like you can trade different set styles and setups. Speaking of those, just to get it out of the way, when you see the positions that we're in, this is from the morning, this ATHE. Like it's just a dollar stock. It just held a buck all day. Well, it held like $1.05 here and then held a 123 with a gigantic offer sitting there. So it's been a short off of that level and then just cover in front of 105 pretty much all day long. So it's not doing anything. I wouldn't get too excited to watch it. I know it's a gap or an up 31%, but I really don't expect anything to happen other than maybe sort of just barcode here. And if it breaks down to $1, I think that would get pretty interesting. No indication that's going to happen, though.
That DraftKings story, guys, an interesting one simply because they're the first ones in the state of New York. So that's a decent story, and also obviously ahead of the NFL playoffs. So, yeah, that was that headline there for DraftKings. I want to mention this as well. There was a number of analysts, not just a couple, but 3 or 4, as I lose that altogether, talking about meta platforms today on the positive side of things, and what a bounce back it's been. DraftKings also looking oddly similar to Beyond Meat right now as well, having a huge day as well. But Meta, guys, looking pretty good here, trying to bounce anyways.
I just shorted. I just shorted DraftKings against this day's high, so we're going to see if DraftKings goes here. I'm negative on the name, so we will look to see on a negative move to the downside from a company that makes absolutely no money, DraftKings, and I don't know when they will, to a company that has so much money. Honestly, I don't know if they know what to do with it, and sometimes that's a bad thing, right? Facebook, just what a monster. Like, this is 2022. The meta universe, metaverse, omniverse, all that stuff is going to matter at some point this year, and it's going to be, if the market rebounds, when the market rebounds, I think you got to be in this name. It continues to be pretty strong here. You've seen some of the dip down in a lot of these other names, right? A Roblox, like all these other sort of meta plays, a Roblox, a Unity software, even Arc, things like that. Like, this is not even below the 50-period moving average. Sure, it's hung out here a little bit, and we've made dips down, but right now, it just seems strong. Can it get back? Okay, RCL, okay. We are at a level right now where, as the market's coming down, I may take a piece out here on this RCL. I think that makes the most sense at this stage. So let's put a bid here around 79 and see if we can get this on RCL now, close that gap a little bit. But okay, Facebook, there it is. Yep, we got it just as we went there. So we'll belly dance off on that RCL trade right there. A smooth 80 cents, or 30 and 35, 65 cents there on that. But the point about Facebook is, the dip wasn't that dramatic here today. It dipped out. I mean, look, everything was pretty dramatic, but if you look at yesterday's close, 324, we only went down to 322 and change, and then it just ripped off right up to the upside there. 340, it stopped, bounced around. I like Facebook here. I think, this is a perfect opportunity to get into a name that's barcoding at these levels. Do I think it retests 380? Answer to that, yes. So, I'm excited to see what Facebook has this year. And I think you have support, man. I think you have support down here at 300. Look, if it drops to 300, that's 10% down. Okay, that's bad, for sure. But at the same time, this is a name that you want to be long, and I think you want to be long this for a long time. Instagram working, WhatsApp is working, and then the Oculus. Look, I own an Oculus. I think it's absolutely incredible, and the things that can be done in this space is going to be huge. So, I don't know. If you want to fly with something, I think Facebook is an unbelievable buy, all the way down to 300.
Strongest FANG name today, buy, and it's not even like it's not really close today. It's actually I don't think anything. None of the other names, like Google was flat at best. I think Amazon was down slightly. Apple was down 1%. Microsoft, last I checked, had been down.
They're all down. Yeah.
Netflix was down 2%, and Facebook's up 3%. So pretty strong. I'm just going to contrast it here. And this is it's an unfair example, but I'm going to kind of give it anyways. You can bet on something in this kind of an environment that because you believe that company will be around and making money in 10, 15, 20 years and not going anywhere, and I'll just say this in Pinterest, because what I think your catalyst for owning, let's say, Pinterest as a shot play would be that somebody wanted to potentially buy them when they were here. And now they're very close to being cut in half. So if I had to guess at a reason why you might want to pick up Pinterest, it's because you think someone might think they're going to get cheap enough to be a buyout target. But even then, your premiums, I don't know, let's call it let's say you got a 40% premium from here. That would give you maybe 45 or something like 50. Maybe it doesn't even get you back up to the level when PayPal announced and then nixed the deal. And that never even got anywhere close to the target of what they were saying that PayPal was going to pay. So sometimes you think about it, one is a shot play, which is a low probability, decent return, and the other is I believe in the company. So in that space, it's about safety this year, and companies are going to be around and are going to actually be able to produce results. And that's the kind of decision that you're making in 2022 here. And if you feel good about that company, I think that's what you want to do. And if you're iffy about it, well, then maybe you should think twice. Bren?
We are talking risk management today. We're going to discuss a little bit about the basics. I'll give you a few pointers as to how to start in the market and control your risk at the same time. We talk all the time about people wanting to jump right in and be long a whole bunch of stocks, and they forget about the downside and where they may be wrong. So let's get started here, guys. A couple of good points to discuss when it comes to the basics of risk management.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it really simple because it'd be easy to show a couple of winning trades, and I'll show you I'll show you a winner and a loser in the same regard here. And it was earlier today on Bed Bath & Beyond. And the first thing we talk about risk management, and I'm trying to zoom in so you can see the chart better, is where are you going to be wrong in a trade? Bed Bath & Beyond had bad earnings, but they're always a squeeze play. So when it made the first dip down early in the morning, I'm just going to look at the first consolidation was right here about 1250. So I like shorting off of counter moves to try to scalp something for a tight stop loss and then try and capture the range. So in this particular case, it was a short where I'm identifying, trying to get an average price at about 40, risk to that 50 level, and then get out and then try and capture to 12. You get about 3 to 4 win-loss ratio. Here's where you can run into the problem. I'll show you here where it worked at 13, where I followed my plan. But if you don't get that stop out, right? So it's one thing to identify where you'll be wrong, identify how much you're willing to lose, but you have to do two things. One, you have to stay disciplined, follow your plan, and get out. If you're doing it manually, that can be tougher. If you're using a stop order, that can be easier because you automatically get triggered out. You then have to consider how much you'll get slipped. In this case, in the pre-market, it's a few extra pennies because of that. And so you want your trade in this particular case to look like this, which is a paper cut. And then when you finally get into position, you follow a plan where I said, my risk to reward, again, if I'm shorting it here at 15 on the way down with a very, very tight stop, I'm not doing a 10% risk when shorting it here, trying to hold it for a home run of $2. I'm just scalping it. That plan doesn't change. So you identify your plan. And that means identifying where you are wrong. And if you are wrong there, get out. I did not. I paid for it. If you are wrong here, get out. That's a good trade. If you are right here, follow your plan and do not get greedy. So it comes with identifying what type of a trade you're trying to make, where you are wrong, and then ensuring that you actually take the out when it does occur there. So that means discipline, it means preparation, but there's no way of getting around it. Those have to be part of your toolbox when you're a trader. I just wanted to show you an example where I was completely undisciplined this morning. And full disclosure, I made that trade before I had my first coffee of the day. Never a good plan.
No, that's why I drink coffee on the way to work. But I mean, you might want to look into that. Okay, so I'll talk, I mean, it's basically the same idea. When you're talking about risk management, really there's trade your plan and plan your trade. And I think that's what Neil just discussed right there. I'm going to talk maybe a little bit more about share size, because I think that there's really no more important thing, honestly, than to say, okay, when is it time for me to sort of level up? When is it time for me to manage my risk? Like, I've had success, I kind of know what I'm doing, and now it's like, what trades am I going to put on 3 times the risk, or double the risk as per usual, or 5 times the risk? And I have an example here with SoFi today. So again, we planned the trade and traded the plan. You can go to @TraderTV Sean, check out the sticky note, and we're recording this. So for those of you live, I've just talked about it, but SoFi here, we wanted to get the long off 1350, right? So this was our plan today. We have 5 or 6 names, and I can go over them all, but we'll make this real quick. SoFi 1350, we liked it, all right? But, so we took the long, and then we got hit when it broke. So we made some money, got hit. Then we let it fall down to a key level. Now, this is why this is important. So 2 things. The plan already, we see something that we like. We like this little, and I don't know if you guys can see this. Hopefully you can. It's about as best as I can do it for you. It zooms in here. There's a little wick bottom down to 13 even, okay? Then it stops. You see a big green candle here. This is a perfect setup for me. I love when stocks fall down, hit a key level, and then you see this little wick saying, nope, it was bought back up, time to go the other way. So it's a complete reversal of a trade here. Now, the important thing to notice is on the level 2, right on here, we noticed that there was 150,000 shares, give or take a couple tens of thousands, who knows, plus dark pools, plus everything, down at 13 even. So what I did right here was I actually tripled my shares. So from the position that I had here, so let's just say this was 1,000 or 100 shares. It doesn't matter. The math is easy. 100 shares here. This trade down here was 300 shares. Why? Because my stop down here was only going to be through 13. So when I get this long at 08 or 07, whatever this was, my risk is 7-8 pennies plus the slippage Neil's talking about. And on SoFi, I don't expect much slippage. There's lots here. So I'd say at most 10 cents. And then look at the upside. Boom, boom, boom. Our best out here is 75. So I think you got to look at the level 2 plus some chart patterns. And when you see all that, look, can we be wrong? Yes. Has this trade hit me before? Of course. You're not always going to be right. But the point is that when you are right, the risk to reward, and we're talking about risk management, well paid off here on this trade with SoFi. So look at level 2, look at key levels for support or resistance, and then put on a bigger spot.
Understanding exactly where you're going to be wrong, guys, is what you need to be starting out the idea with, and then working on, if it is, a tight stop, how many shares are we going to use in the trade? When it's a small stop, that's when you have to size up. A few hints, anyways, on the basics for risk management, guys. Let's talk about a few small caps here this afternoon as well. We came into this Ergo headline today. There was a DOJ investigation into some insurance reimbursement claims. They came out this morning and said they are passing that off to their civil department. And the company then said, yep, they're still cooperating with that. So a big move in the pre-market for this year on the NASDAQ. I mean, it's still up 65%. I just noticed some volume coming back in here as we head into the final 90 minutes or so of the day, trying to make highs here once again for EAR.
Great timing, Brennan. I gotta give it up because, EAR, it's just making this break towards what was morning resistance at 8 even, which I know you know, Brennan. So, look, I think it could stall out a little bit there. Obviously, it's good news if litigation goes a civil route. Obviously, for a company, because then you're thinking settlements instead of possibly worse. And ultimately, anytime you have a gap up where stock looks like it's capitulating, and I said this in the morning show, if it had broken this low where I got the final out on the short, I think it was probably done for the day. But when you hold that bottom, it's usually around 10:30 or so when the morning rush is done. When that type of a bottom gets held throughout the entire day and it grinds higher, you know what, at some point, I think I heard Trader Prad say this, and it's so true. Sometimes you just have to start saying, well, if this is true, and I start putting trailing stops in on the short, well, then sometimes it has to also be a long, right? Because down here, we're just talking about risk to reward. Let's zoom in so you can get a better idea of what this looks like. From the last time it flushed down, you put in a lower high at 666, oddly enough. That's weird. And then at the bottom, it's 660. So the second or third time when it tests this, you can get 70s or 71s long, risking about 10 cents, and VWAP's up here at 740 at the time. So your risk to reward's very good at that point. Now, if you're sitting in a short, it's harder to sort of get away from that. But if you're sitting there watching something like that, find support, you can scalp that to $7, and the risk to reward is 2.5 to 1. So sometimes these gap up plays, when they find a level of support like this, you've just got to pay attention to them. We talk about this in the context usually of it holding that level at the close, and then maybe it's a good day 2 type play, but it can be a day 1 play as well. The only issue, of course, is the volume deceives you at lunchtime, because volume's dying and it's not bouncing. But then you did see volume spike at noon, and then it gave you another test back at that same level. So I think those can be opportunities, especially during the midday show. I'm glad Trader Prad brought that one out, because that's the kind of play at lunchtime when things maybe aren't moving and you can find yourself like a sleeping giant.
Just a report back here on RCL. Let's go, man. What a great trade this was. We hit that trade, obviously, on that news there from the Hindenburg short report. Look at that. And I mean, it doesn't, I just tweeted out, it doesn't get much easier than this, because it doesn't really. You play, it makes the move down, right? We're lucky enough that when we looked at this, and we're a little bit late on the story here, when I looked on it, I mean, not that late, 1, 2, 3, it's only 5 minutes later, but the story hits, right? And then it just starts going back up to the upside there. And then we identified this level right here as an area of concern for us to possibly get out, including averaging in. And there it goes. So we take that position there. We take out, what is that? That's or short at 40. We take it out at 80. So that's 60 cents right there. And now, again, $1 now in the money, almost all the way back down to 78 bucks where we were at the beginning. So, hey, I mean, you could take this out right now. I'm going to hold it. Not much happening here in the market. So I don't know. Normally, when there's not much happening, I should take the profit, but we'll hold this one and see what does happen here. So $1 in the money on RCL, $1 in the money on Ford, still going higher, and then the position that we've taken that did go. So we're short at what? What am I short? 89, 86 here. It went down as far as 73, but I'm waiting right around here, man, 50s or so for DraftKings. So right now, that's the position I'm working with, and so far, so good on all of this. Crypto making a nice little bounce today as well. So that's helping out. For
that's what needs to happen today. That's like the last thing. I mean, obviously, closing green would be big. That's what really needs to happen. I'm going to get to you in 1 second here, John Reinhardt, about a firm. I want to get to that quickly, but I'm going to point out, if you see on our chart, you guys, if you're watching, you guys know, like, so purple, stop out at the wrong level here. This was a level I wanted to stop. This is where my arrow is below that. That's a mistake, right? So I get back into it when it gives me a decent price. But this turquoise line with a dot, like, that's me putting an order in on the bid. This is it going to like 79.19 and I'm at 79.18. I'm not really moving that bid at this point. I think it's probably going to get filled. But we talk about patience with something and then only take it if it sets up when you're going counter trend. So about I think probably one of the most proud things I am of today is I didn't force my way into an affirm short. There were a couple of times that I looked for the right kind of curl on the stock. I looked for it here. I didn't quite see it either time. I then looked for it at 80. It then tried to put in a lower high just when it looked like it was going to go. I could see that the offer wasn't really coming down with it and the bid was holding up too well, so it bounces to the upside. I then looked at it again at the high of the day, and I just said to myself, you know what? I couldn't at any point see a chance where it's like, I believe in it. I really think this is going to turn here. Like yesterday when it was just like, okay, a firm's going to continue to fall after Fed. That was probably a little bit easier because you saw what happened in the market. But today it just never felt like that setup, even though usually it comes in, it gave you some small pullbacks here, and you definitely had some winning trades. But I didn't pull the trigger because I wasn't feeling it. And right now it's getting pretty close to, I guess, trying to reclaim the previous high, well, the morning high, I guess I should say, at 82.35. That could be a bit of an indication. It's just that the market is going sideways here. And I kind of feel like if you're trying to get these, RCL is different because news came in specifically. If you're trying to get these, you almost want the market to be pulling back in and be with the momentum. That's what worked yesterday. Like you were just riding the wave. Today, you're kind of holding the top on both the ES and the NASDAQ, and then you're kind of doing the same thing here in a firm. So I'm not sure I'm in love with it up at these levels. I don't think you have to trade when you see what seems like a B- setup or B+ or something along those lines. You can wait for your A+ setups.
One interesting name, guys, before we get Danielle Shea is coming up here in a few minutes. We're going to talk some options. Mark Cuban has his bank officially trading on the NASDAQ as of today. Dave Incorporated. Dave on the NASDAQ here. I was talking with Neil briefly at lunchtime and wondering why this thing had done absolutely nothing all day. So this was a SPAC. Its first day trading on its own here. Dave finally catching a bid here, guys, at day highs on decent volume.
There's a rule around here, like, and I am not saying that you should just punch into stocks just because Brendan brings them up. However, he did bring it up, and it had done absolutely nothing, and then all of a sudden it catches a bid. Now, clearly that's, I don't know what that is. It's coincidence, whatever you want to call it. Maybe it's just Brendan being Brendan. But yeah, look, SPACs are highly questionable. Usually what happens, even when you get a bit of a run, like always remember that magical like $10 level, tends to be resistance, and if not 10, tends to be like 99 as well. However, here's the other side of the coin. I know this looks pretty cool, and it looks like it, look at the volume spike it put on. It's done 185,000 shares. And it's not to say that you can never trade and make money on this, but the risk of trading something with that little liquidity, like it's sometimes you miss a stop on something like this where you structure a trade and then the spread opens up because a $9 stock right now with a 15-cent spread, when liquidity runs out, when it takes out the high, I would anticipate that could turn into 40 or 50 cents. It's just like the risk to reward is usually not going to be there for you in situations like that. So when volume's that bad, try to sit them out. I heard Prad say something like, if it's below $5, it has to do like millions of shares. I don't like 4 million shares in volume on a $5 stock. 180,000 on a $9 stock is definitely a no-fly zone.
Yeah, I'm going to stamp a big thumbs down to Dave. I mean, I don't know nothing about it, but again, all these SPACs, all this stuff crazy here. I just don't trust anything right now. I mean, look at that Nubank, right? Remember that stock? That was one that was Buffett backed. It's the SoFi of South America. It's amazing. They have so much funding. What a great, fantastic stock. I can't wait to pile into this one. And then I look at it and you see, forget about, oh man, too bad that wick is there. But the point, what I was trying to, let me see if I can get a better one here for you to show you. But you know, a lot of this stuff is just like play. Here we go. This is from eSignal, so a little bit of a better daily chart here to show you. You know, like it came out at 1040, ripped up to 12. That's just, you know, that sort of FOMO on the day of an IPO. And then look where it is down now to $9. So if Dave right now is $9, I'll call $6 in a month.
How that goes for our friend Dave. And I just love the name. It's a great name. It's like a neobank, I guess, or like some sort of online type of deal. I was going to mention on, I saw a couple of MicroStrategy was one of them, but I was going to mention on the cryptocurrency thing, Bitcoin popping up after Bloomberg said they believe Bitcoin will outperform stocks this year. So that kind of gave a boost to not only some of the stocks, but the BTC as well, guys.
You know, I don't think that's like a revolutionary call because, I mean, the thing is that Bitcoin pretty much, as long as it goes up, it's probably going to outperform stocks because if you're just saying like the stock market on average is about 7 to 8%. Now we've had some outsized gains over the last couple of years. The S&P, I believe, was 27% up. Here, what am I doing? I'm still on Nubank here. But the SPY. So, you know, the spiders and the SPY, this S&P 500 up over 27% last year. And I don't know if Bitcoin's going to be up 30% or not this year. I heard Prad make a statement of 100%. He's looking for 80 grand in Christmas. I think that's a little bit outsized, that kind of a call. But hey, I'd be happy if the S&P 500 gave us that 7 to 8% this year, to be honest with you. If we can go traditionally and get a pretty standardized return, especially, and we'll talk to Danielle about this as well. I'm sure Brendan's going to hit this. But, you know, in this economy that we're looking at here with raising rates, inflation hopefully going to be under control, but you have a very, very hawkish Fed now. So if we can get the S&P to perform between that 7 and 10 historical percent, I'd take it. So do I think crypto is going to beat 7? I mean, I guess he's talking about Bitcoin. If I think Bitcoin is going to beat 7 to 8%, yes, I think yes. So I would agree with that statement wholeheartedly. So, but at the same time, I'm putting more money into the market than I am into crypto. It's just, crypto is one of those games that I don't want to be on the losing end of it. So I can afford 5 to 10% of my portfolio, not net worth, guys. 5 to 10% of your portfolio, your investment portfolio. Yeah, not your net worth. Like, don't say, oh, I have 100 grand that unrealized gains in real estate. Yeah, never do this. And therefore, my net worth is that, right? So this is investment portfoldio.
Yeah, it's an important thing. And like, keep in mind too, like the difference is you might think that Bitcoin can easily beat that. Like if it goes up, it doesn't have to be 50,000. It breaks to beat that percentage on return on the S&P. But at the end of the day, like which one would probably break you if you were in too deep? And I think you're not going to have that in some high quality equity names, even if on the year it is a bit of a slower year. That year's it didn't get there, went to 770 and just pulled back. It's holding VWAP, good sign for it getting a little bit bullish up here. If it can hold, like 740 maybe not too. It's kind of thin up here. There's a bid at 38, 738, and a bid at 740 and 41. I think if it holds those, it might be worth, like, as I say it, it's actually testing it right now and it's not going to hold it. If it had held this and given a consolidation, I would have maybe tried along and then try to scalp 20-25 cents into that 770. But of course, as I talk about it, possibly holding VWAP and then trying along, it then goes ahead and breaks it, so I can't do it.
I mean, check out this, guys. RCL just like all the way to the downside. RCL, a big trade for here, all the way to the downside. Yeah, the only thing, I can hit alert. What? Oh, the ship one? Yeah, let me hit it. I have it. So let's see if this works. All right, here we go. See? So I'm getting on the cruise. Everything is a jam. Wait a second, my family's on there and I'm not. So we just missed that right there. But here goes RCL. It's not taking off without me now. We're already short this thing, so we're kind of like pushing that boat away. And now we'll see it's right back down to these bottoms. I think this is pretty much target here. We're in the money at $1.40 on this name. I think this is a good trade here for RCL all the way back down to the bottom. So without any further ado, my favorite guest, and she's back. Let's throw it over to Brendan.
Hey, yes, we are very happy once again to have the VP of Options at Simpler Trading back with us to talk a little options to kick off the new year. Miss Danielle Shea, Happy New Year, by the way. It's
Happy New Year.
It's great to have you as always. We've been discussing this, as Sean was saying there, as we were leading into this, higher interest rates, inflationary environment where we're getting the Fed making all kinds of moves in an effort to kind of tame this and bring it back to earth a little bit. It's the start of the year. Everyone's looking for ideas. It's a different, obviously, environment than when we've been dealing with, the end of last year, even through the middle of last year. Talk a little bit about how you are going to approach this year in a way of higher inflation and higher interest rates on trade ideas.
Well, we definitely have some tailwinds there, right? And I think that's what we're seeing in the market right now. We had quite a bit of jitters yesterday after the Fed. For me, what I'm trying to focus on the fact is that, one of the main reasons why they're raising rates is because the economy is strong. And I'm looking towards companies that have done really well, especially over the course of the past year. I mean, even if you just look at consumer discretionary stocks like Home Depot and Lowe's, I mean, they've had fantastic earnings. They've had fantastic growth. They have a nice trend. I'm not looking as much at some of the really aggressive names, especially the meme stocks, but stocks like Home Depot and Lowe's, I mean, hey, we can trade them. They may not be the most exciting thing in the planet, but it'll do.
When it comes to time frame on an idea like that, I mean, we're going to get to earnings here in a second, but we're heading into earnings season once again. What is the time frame you're looking at here, Danielle, when it comes to something in the retail sector specifically? Is it going to be, a week or two, or are we talking about going into maybe the second half of the year?
So, historically, I've always traded about on a 3-week time frame or less, anywhere between overnight to about 3 weeks. But with the volatility that we've seen in the past 6 months, especially, I am stretching out those trades, especially in the options market, because they expire, right? So what I'm looking at right now is primarily 30 to 45 days out, especially when you have earnings coming up. I really like to look at companies and focus at least a month prior to earnings, see where they're trading, see what technical levels they're on, to see if I can get into them for a rally into those earnings reports.
So one of the questions we get all the time around here is, how do we play this COVID thing that seems to never want to go away? I mean, we just right now, literally, as we came on the air, see RCL back to day lows here on this short seller report from Hindenburg. I mean, Omicron is here. It's getting worse. I mean, there's lots and lots of cases, regardless of where you are in the world. How are you looking at playing some opportunities in the COVID space?
So, in the beginning, especially in 2020, I traded the Chewies, I traded the Pelotons, and there was a time where we traded the reopening plays. Honestly, at this point, those stocks to me are just so news driven. I really just have to focus on the companies that have been strong throughout it all. I mean, I like focusing on the semiconductors. I like focusing on the tech stocks, Microsoft, Apple, Google, especially because I'm an options trader. These stocks have a lot of liquidity. And so for me, that works out really well. And I'm actually just completely avoiding anything COVID related at this point, because you know what? Who knows what's going to happen next with that? So
it seems to take a different turn regardless of what day it is, or
Yes.
Day in and day out. We talk a lot about a new year, new mindset, coming up with a new plan going into the new trading year. I mean, it's only the first week, but it seems like we've had lots of action so far. Give us one or two, or maybe three if you like, best practices when it comes to options trading specifically. When you're starting a new year, what is it you want to focus on?
So with options trading specifically, you really just have to be focused on how the market is changing over time. And you really have to be focused on particular sectors, because with options trading, you have to be able to identify what areas are going to outperform, because options decay and they will literally just go to zero if the tickers that you pick trade sideways and do nothing. So you really have to be focused on identifying areas that are consolidating, that will potentially break out, particularly if they have some positive tailwinds, like I was mentioning, consumer discretionary is really strong right now. The housing market is really strong. Searching in those areas. And then also a main thing for traders this year is and what I've seen with our traders is you just have to have more patience. The market is not going straight up anymore. You have to sit through some volatility, and that means giving yourself a little bit more time if you're a swing trader like me.
Yeah, we had a great year last year, obviously, and as shorter term traders, we got spoiled a little bit maybe with the nonstop rally of 2021. We mentioned earnings here, Danielle. We're getting into some big names coming up next week, but the next kind of 2-3 weeks. What are you looking forward to for Q4 earnings season?
So, I think that this earnings season is really going to be make or break, especially because the NASDAQ is sitting just right on a key area of support right now. We're testing the lows that we saw in December. If those areas break and if these tech stocks can't get it together, I think we could be for a pretty nasty February. So that being said, what I'm looking for is really the same thing that I always look for every earnings season. I look for relative strength winners that have killed it last quarter and the previous at least 3 quarters I like to look at. But in general, if I could take an average of about 8 quarters or so, that's what I like to see. I like to see companies that have beat expectations, that have experienced breakaway gaps the prior quarter. And I like to see companies where, people are anticipating they're going to be positive reports. Generally, names like that are going to be NVIDIA, AMD, Microsoft, Apple, Netflix is typically really good, Amazon. And generally what we see during this time frame is a really nice rally into those reports. But what I'm concerned about with this quarter in particular is because the sentiment has changed a little bit, if we don't get that rally, then I'm really concerned that we could see a bigger breakdown here.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to, the holiday season, I guess, will play a pretty big role on,
Yes.
the back end of some of those names that you mentioned. Apple, obviously, the biggest. We have a couple of questions, Danielle, from our audience, which I think are excellent questions. One of them regarding volume, and specifically with maybe a less volatility per se in the market in 2022. Are you anticipating volume in the options markets to be on the lower end?
So we have actually seen really the highest amount of volume that we've ever seen in the options market last year. I do think that there are going to be people dropping out. I think there's a lot of people that came into the options market when the market was going straight higher, and now it's getting a little bit more volatile, and they're thinking, hey, maybe this isn't really for me. But honestly, the volume's the best that I've ever seen it. And because of that, we're seeing price really playing around specific key numbers. And in the options market, that does give you a lot of opportunities to trade, even if the market's not going straight up, which is the positive thing about options.
A second one, and I'll read this word for word because it's kind of a 2-part question, but how do you determine what strike price to select when buying or selling options, especially when you get closer to expiration? Is there value in looking at key psychological values in that process?
So identifying the strike price is really one of the most important parts in options trading, and it's also the part that a lot of people get wrong. First of all, it's going to depend on if you're trying to buy or if you're trying to sell, okay? So for me personally, I use a lot of technical analysis. I use Fibonacci for my key targets, and then I also overlap that with key psychological values. I try to focus on trending charts. I hate to keep using Microsoft for an example, but it's a great example, and I trade it all the time. So if you're looking at, Microsoft or Apple, for example, I look for pullbacks to 21 EMA, 34 EMA, right around there. I throw some Fibonacci analysis on there to identify some targets, and then I overlap that with key psychological values. So that is how I identify a target or a strike price. If I'm selling the option, then I want that strike price to be above where my target is because I want to sell the option and have it decay, right? So that I can get my money. But if I'm buying the option, then I want it to hold that value while the price increases. So it just kind of depends. And you also need to, of course, take timing into consideration, which is, at what point do you think that ticker is going to be at that strike price?
Great stuff as always. Danielle Shea, VP of Options at Simpler Trading. We appreciate your time and knowledge in this space as always.
Thank you. It's awesome being on your show.
Thanks for coming by once again. Guys, some interesting but great ideas at the same point going into what should be pretty impressive earnings here.
Exactly. Like we asked, you guys asked on our Q&A a bunch of questions related to options. We said stick around in the new year. We're going to satisfy that. So thank you, Danielle, of course, for coming on.
I'm going to reach out because maybe we can have her on for one of our Q&As because the Q&A was a huge success for us, and it's always great. And you know what? I mean, that strike price question was great. The volume question was great. So obviously our audience does have a thirst for options information. So thank you. So I wish we could just trade them on our platform, but we'll just use more shares to make up for that. So that's that. But thanks, Brendan. Another great job there.
Absolutely. And look, market's still making some moves. Obviously, things have slowed down a little bit. So I'm going to get to ears in a second. Got back above VWAP. So I was looking for the entry there. I just wanted to quickly point out, we are going a little bit sideways, but trying to hold those highs. Like the small pullback we had when Bullard was giving some comments out there might have, I guess abated a little bit. And you're seeing some names break to the top. Tesla just turned around off 1080, so it looks like it's trying to get through that high. Yeah, this is me sort of finally getting into that ears trade. I wanted to see it actually hold up and make a higher low again before getting into it. I'll give it back to the second level here, but I think I'm going to be trimming this. As it gets to like 70s, and like I said, that $8 level, this morning, that was where it really started to capitulate, and then when it tried to bounce a last couple of times here, it really did have some serious failures up around that 8 level. So I think if it gets going, which it's starting to do, I'm really only trying to give this to the $75 to $8 range, which means it's more of like a 20 to 40 cent scalp trade. In that case, I'm trying to only risk about, like 20, 25 cents, right? So you want to make sure the risk reward is good. I'm not giving this back to $7 because I'm not sure it's got that kind of upside. I just want to make sure we're in the pocket. There's not a heck of a lot happening here. I'm watching a barcode on GameStop that I'm thinking if it can break out of this. Weird, because it did a barcode this morning. We talked about it in the morning show at 133. Like, it was just sitting here, like, this is GameStop when the market felt like it was going to do craziness, and it was just doing nothing in this same range. It broke out, gave you that trade to the open, and then died. And it's now right back in the afternoon, barcoding at the same 133 level. And that's the only reason I'm watching it, because I feel like if it can manage to break out here, you might just have a nice little scalp trade. I did short it off the top, so maybe a little bit of coinage there. It's been a good scalping day if you find the movers. So that's the only reason I probably traded GameStop. I usually don't touch it. But if we break out of here, I'm probably looking to catch along the same way it worked in the morning. Let's see if it can happen again. Brendan.
I just saw this, a few people picking up on this late, this QCOM GM thing. This actually came across at 2 o'clock, I saw when we came on. But QCOM catching a bid, GM catching a bid. GM the first to, or going to use Qualcomm chips to power their next generation of EVs, I guess. So QCOM just popping up on a volume scanner there.
I mean, I like Qualcomm. I mean, Qualcomm has been recently taking out some of the highs, and I mean, I don't have a problem with anybody wanting to get into some Qualcomm. I'm almost out of this RCL. We got a little too greedy down there, so we'll get out at roughly the same price if it breaks back above 75. But if you check out QCOM, I'm going to say NASDAQ, although probably, okay, good. Okay, so I guess if you were listed like 30 years ago and you're a tech company, you're probably on the 100%. NASDAQ. So, but this is what we're talking about on not really on a 1 minute chart, but you can see right here we're starting to take out some of these tops, but the more important chart to me, of course, is this one. This doesn't get any better, man. This news here on Qualcomm, I think this was the Apple infringement or whatever thing there, or that was just great earnings. Apple seems like that was a long time ago. But anyways, you can see it's just at their highs right now, Qualcomm. And actually, this was close to being one of my picks for this upcoming year. So just a name that often gets forgot about, but Qualcomm, a great little mover here. And you know what, 187, I mean, 187, but you do have a nice little top here. If we break that 187, then we might put it on.
Yeah, I shouldn't celebrate the 187. We're like 90s hip hop guys when you see certain things. I'm with you there. I like Qualcomm. I like a lot of the names in the space. I love an AMAT. This is good news for them. It's not a lot of volume. I think that's why I kind of went under the radar. You're not really seeing it do a heck of a lot there. But by the way, I did miss GameStop. I kind of underestimated the spread as usual. That seems like it's been a thing for me today. And I didn't feel like chasing it too much. I mean, it was this 133 level and it broke out. And then it was in essentially the offer was up there and close to 134. I just didn't want to pay up for it. And the volume spike wasn't that big either. So GameStop did break, but it looks like it's not doing a heck of a lot. Starting to work in the money on ear. I don't want anything out till it gets in those high 60s. Miss V?
Hey Neil, we've got a super chat from Ashley Thorne. Thank you, Ashley. What are your thoughts on SE for a swing? We are day traders, but guys, maybe we can take a look at the chart of CLTD.
Oh, hang on, C Limited.
Hold on, yeah, just responding to some tweets there, and thank you guys. I mean, I'm really glad that everybody really had a great time there with Danielle on the show. So, I mean, I'm just responding to you guys because, you know, the feedback that we get from you on our guests, trust me, it doesn't go unnoticed. I mean, we're all working super hard, all of us. I mean, every single person that you ever see on camera, we want this to succeed and we want to do it for you guys. So thank you for the nice positive feedback there about that guest. But on that note, I was responding and I saw it was SE, but I don't have it up. Was there news on it today or?
Well, if it was news, I apologize in advance if I missed news on C Limited. My understanding is company, you know, essentially not making coinage yet, getting beat up after what is a monster run that had been put on. And you're down. It's always going to be attractive when you see like, oh my God, it's a 50% discount, or I guess close to it in this particular case. You've already broken some pretty interesting support. I think today there's so many names that are going to look like they're starting a rally. And I just feel like you look here, like we started with Facebook, right, Sean? It's like something that's bouncing today where you're like, oh yeah, you believe in that bounce. I know we're one day after the Fed, but it's because no one's really concerned about Facebook as a company for 10 to 15 years or them making money. But some of these other names where you're either not making money yet, your price to revenues or sales, those can be trouble. And I think you might want to have these settle down a little bit before you start going gangbusters. Now, can you have stop outs? Look, this had a previous support. If you look at the secondary run that got made, starting basically at the beginning of last year or at the end of 2020, then that support was at 180. So you're making that same bottom here. There's some gap risk, I suppose, but if you swung it, you're looking at less than 10% of risk, and then maybe you're asking yourself to get back up to 230, 250 or something like that. And that seems like a pretty good trade from a risk to reward standpoint. I just feel like the day after the Fed, it's a little bit early for names like this. I wouldn't be jumping in. It's so different, like in Facebook or Nvidia, than it would be in something like C Limited. So I would say probably no. If you have a stop, the risk to reward is fine, but I wouldn't personally be doing it. I think you can be patient with a lot of these types of names in terms of when you have to get in and think there's going to be some really good buying opportunities. Obviously, the bottoms today are fantastic, and we're all seeing them.
All right. Yeah, so great question, and thank you so much, and thank you for Ms. V for bringing that obviously to our attention. You know, like I said, and we don't take this lightly, like, you know, all these comments just really mean a lot to us and helps us sort of, you know, educate you guys as the viewer and sort of, you know, just give credibility to everything that you guys are doing and what we're trying to do too. But yeah, what a nasty, nasty move on that SE. Wow. Yeah, we talked about this being the year of, you know, earnings, and you want to stay with, you know, companies that aren't valued with sales, price to sales ratios. You want to make sure that you're in companies that are, you know, actually have earnings. So price to earnings ratios there. So that's why we like a name like Ford. You know, we like names like Microsoft. I mean, Danielle talked about some of these higher quality names as well, where she likes to play with her options into those names because, you know, the opportunity for those to expire worthless can happen. So if you get a name wrong, it's a little bit better to be covered on something that has a chance there. And going into earnings, wow, super spicy. Next time she's on, man, we'll probably bring her over here and maybe we can ask some more stock-specific questions. But
especially earnings season, man. That's
the other thing, right? Earnings season is going to be monstrous. So that should be really, really cool. Someone said Beyond Meat's at a key level. Well, whenever you say the word key level, we like it. So we're going to go over here and have a quick look too, because that's basically how I trade. And those of you that watch know, oh yeah, okay, yeah. So again, just looking right now, the trade's already over. So, but that doesn't mean we can't discuss what we see here. So this would have been a great long, obviously, short, breaking this level right here. So again, a monster move up here to show what we're doing on the day. 15% Huge off that KFC news yesterday. I thought the run would happen yesterday. No, happens today. Monster move up to the upside here. You seen yesterday, monster move down on the same news. So we started yesterday at 68 bucks. Today, we're right back there as if yesterday didn't happen. So that's always a good sign. But you have a nice move up just the same way. Like if you flip this around, I would be all over this long. But look at these wick off tops. Here it is, consolidating to the top. Whoever put that in the chat, I missed it, but you are 100% right. And the trade goes to you because you said it's at a key level. I don't know if you're talking long or short, but this breaking back down through 68 is almost super cash. Like seeing that is exactly what we want. So that's a great take. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. Trading it in here is useless until you take out this top. So this was a good bust through up to 69, and this was a good break down lower. So I'd say the same thing right here. If you break back down below 65.75, well, I mean, you can take these wicks if you want in that 65.50. Then I think we break lower and maybe touch view up. So I think there's a couple trades to happen. I'm not going to get involved. We're now in the middle. I think we missed this trade and we missed this trade back up. So if anything right now, I would look long because you're back to support. But you notice the NASDAQ's coming off and should be on me, really be up 15% today. So there are always little silly questions like that you have to ask yourselves. Robbie, is that a tea, a hot chocolate, or a coffee?
Coffee.
Caffey. All right, that's a caffey.
Caffey? What accent is that supposed to be?
Is that like New York or Chicago? I don't know what
Boston?
that is. I don't know what it is.
What was that supposed to be?
Busker
Boston?
talk.
He's not from Boston. But like, actually, as you said, they're like wick off tops and that kind of a thing. Lucid, by the way, which made, look, like we keep saying, a lot of these V-shaped bottoms that got made. But Lucid, if you go back to yesterday's action, when it had the pop and fade, that was right off the $39 level. And we're about 50 cents away from that. So I think the same kind of idea, like if it were to try to break the high, maybe the futures also try to make the high at the same time, that wouldn't hurt. And then you get a bit of a turnaround. That could be a play to look for. So as things approach these tops, I mean, that's the kind of thing that sometimes it's better to have it fail break through the high and then sort of get it on the way back down. Now, Lucid's not there yet, but if you're not watching it as it goes into the level, well, a lot of times you're going to miss out on the trade. So that just popped into my radar because I saw some people asking about that one in the chat, and then you were just talking about the wick off tops, and then there it is, Lucid. Doesn't mean it's going to get there, but if it does, we definitely have 50 minutes, or at least 45 minutes or so for that trade to still be able to come in. Obviously, it's got a little bit of a ways to go. It's different sort of taking the breakout at the high when you know that that level's looming on the higher time frame. That's why we say when in doubt, zoom out, especially if you're looking for a breakout trade. And sometimes, like, one of the worst things you can do is take a breakout into a really obvious area of resistance, which limits the upside on your trade. It doesn't mean you can't win on it. You just have to know what like that upside might be before you hit that key.
All right, yeah, 24.49. We're gonna, whoopsies. Okay, good. Whew. We're going to get out of Ford. So if Ford breaks, I thought I just punched out right there, but I didn't. If Ford breaks back down below here, we will get out of this. So we'll see about a 49 break and then see about getting out of Ford. So Ford, again, what a monster day for us here on this name. We're $1 in the money. We really, really, took this to the upside. Obviously, we wish we would have had some more shares. I'm trying to do better on holding, but we do hold the last 10% of this trade all the way up for $1. So again, well worth it for me to do trades like that. And again, know your own sort of areas. I'm a scalper through and through and trying to get better on holding. So there it is, in and out. I mean, we scalped this for beautiful right there, like bang, all the way down. Like, this is what I mean. Like, if I get out everything there and then this continues to ride up, then you're going to say, why did you get out there? But then when it falls back down, these look like genius outs. So, I mean, you got to sort of take it with a grain of salt when you see some of these trades. Like, some of us, I have over 200 fills today on like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 names today, over 200 fills. And obviously a lot of them are right here because we have some fills like on Disney that I'd rather not even talk about. That's on the sticky note as well, where we have 4 fills, 45, long and out, and then a hold of only 20% all the way back up. And then you can see where Disney is right now. So, this is what I mean. You got to take a lot of these trades with, you got to be actionable when it's happening. And then I just hope that I have something on board when this does come back down. So anyway, just a little bit of a talk there on Disney and on trading and about what to expect and to sort of just be real with your trades because we could sit here and lie, and I got out of that, I got out on that, but the one thing that we're all about is transparency. We put right here on our charts every single day. We have over, 20 million minutes or something, viewed minutes on our platform. So you can go over, see all the trades we make every single day, and I hope that you will be impressed. So that's what we're doing. And there we go. We are now out of Ford. So this kind of goes to that pigs get slaughtered thing there. Ford comes all the way back down to the downside. Did it even break? Oh, God, don't tell me it didn't break, but it doesn't matter. We're out at 50. How could I have a 50 print if my out was 49? But regardless, we are now out. It might look like a genius play, but we want to get out at 50. So we talk about trading your plan. So there it is.
Good routing key.
Pretty happy there. I mean, it looks like there might have been a tick down there, but that's my bad. If you're going to get out at 50, I should really put my stop at 47 because then I don't have to worry about that one little tick. But either way, happy with that trade. We're out of Ford. Let's just.
I love this community. To be honest with you, I actually saw someone in the chat here. By the way, and I'm going to miss the name because I'm trying to scroll for it. But ear just broke down, and someone's like, Neil, watch your ear trade. If you ever see me and I'm doing this, and I'm not really paying attention to the camera, it's usually because I'm on level 2, double checking my order. I have a stop in this one. In some cases, I would not have a stop and you'd manually get out of the trade. In this case, I kind of know I want that 20 area right here, that lower high, which we talked about. So all I really have to do is just make sure that it's still in place. It is there, so I'm kind of covered there. And again, everyone can treat it differently. If you only take one position at a time, you can get really accustomed to having your own level 2 up and making your own judgment call and punching it out whenever you, and when I say punch out, I mean removing liquidity to cover your position. Do it all on your own. There are times when I'm 100% going to do that, where I want no part of using a stop order, and I can flip away here because my stop is in place there. But in the case of ATHE, which I'm still sitting in, by the way, if you were trading this morning, I was shorting it sort of at will, first at 10 when it broke down. Then when it broke that range, I was shorting it here in front of 20s over and over again. And then right here, it was like a 500,000 share order at 123. As it started to get filled, I actually manually wanted to get out. If I'm shorting in front of size, and I'm talking significant size, the idea usually is not to wait for it to break with a stop order where you're getting slipped up here. The idea is to take more shares, one or two pennies in front of that level, and then hit that guy for liquidity so that you're only losing the 1 or 2 cents. So that actually shook me out. It never broke the 500,000 shares, and I just jumped right back in. That's why you see me still short this thing in front of 123. It didn't break 123. It came down. I just hit 121, and I've been sitting in it the rest of the day here. So sometimes you want that stop order in. Other times, the reason you got in the trade necessitates not using a stop order. And when I'm trading off a size, there's no chance that I want to do that. Brendo?
Delta just moving back to near day lows. I'll show you in a second here, but they came out a few minutes ago talking about cancellations continuing. 200, in fact, today. So 200 cancellations for Delta on Thursday. So that caused that little move back down for DAL.
Oh, man, we're just sitting here talking about how this market is starting to now go back to the downside. And unfortunately, this is what you do. And this is what I mean. We can't, I don't know if the market's going to do this, right? So there's our out on RCL, and it comes right back into the target that we basically had in the first place. I was waiting for 78 to break, and then we were going to hopefully see it tick down in and around where these wicks were, and that was the target, and we talked about that. And then all of a sudden I was like, if he takes out 75, we'll get out. So we do put the 80 cents and our 65 cents in the pocket twice there. So a good trade for me on that name. But again, I thought someone said no mic there. Again, coming back down for RCL as this one. I'm out of everything right now. We can look at, this was very, very close. You're not, honestly, guys, shout out to everybody that's part of AMC Army or Apes or whatever we're calling them right now. But, paper-handed here. But, this just took off. And we got out of this live on the show for you guys. We took this trade live. If you're just joining us now, we're on every day at 8:30, and we talk about this plan of action. When AMC was dropping like this, we just waited. We waited and waited. Let me take these off here so you can see what we're talking about. So I'll take off these executions and go over here and show you. So we waited and waited and waited, and then maybe you guys can do full screen on this. There we go, thanks. You see this huge sell volume come in, and then basically there was nowhere. I don't consider this a bounce. When we're opening at 23 and the market is absolutely cracking, and then we get a little bit of a dance here at 22.20, no, that didn't mean anything to me. And then it just cracked lower. There was nowhere for us to defend at all until I started looking at it when it was down near 21. You know, really no wick-off bottoms or anything like that down here, but it starts to consolidate down near $20, $21. And then as soon as we see that little bottom, that's where, and now I'll put these back on, where we started to say, okay, now let's go. You see, we're already seeing bottoms. Like when we're averaging in, let me zoom in here to show you guys a little bit more. Like the first trade is taken here off of this bottom, okay? Then that bottom breaks. So we're out. But we're already out and we're like, you know what? We want to get some more here because honestly, it's down too low. And then I changed the stop to 20.75. So we didn't give it that much room. And again, we talked about this. And then all of a sudden comes right back. I don't even know why I got some out there at 21. But again, you have to take this consideration. This is a zoomed in chart here. Then we go up 21, 21.50s right there. And then 22. So that's $1. That's like $1.20 right there. And then it rips all the way to the upside. So these longs here are 21s and this out is 23.40. So sometimes you sort of got to like wait for these stocks that are getting hit, and it was down pretty bad today, to make that rebound back to the upside. And then you could see since then, you know, we've had a couple different movements here, and I'm going to note this hold right here, 22 held on when it could have easily fallen back down. So we're going to note that 22 held. We'll write it down. We keep we keep all, like, how many sticky notes? We keep a lot of our sticky notes right here on the desk, and I try to review them in the morning time when we make our new one. So we're going to watch out tomorrow for $22. We'll see how it looks when we get in, but if we can get anywhere down to 21 again, that could be another monster trade for AMC.
Yeah, I know Brendan mentioned this when he's done the sector watch at least a couple times today, and when he opened the show, and someone asked about UNH. And I was looking at this here today. It's easy to look at these pullbacks on companies that you might like and say, hey, this is a good opportunity. And if you look at every single time and the tremendous run that this company's been on, and yeah, I think their business is going to do really well, but I mean, medical records in the US are pretty garbage job of going digital, so there's a heck of a lot of work to be done there. But anyways, every time it's managed to bounce off of whether it's a 50 or the 200. However, if you look at what it does, there's never been a pullback in this stock where you couldn't have been patient to not catch it. Like, you didn't have to jump in front of the sword. Like, you could have waited as it pulls back, let it actually make a multi-day bottom and then break back out, let it make a be sure about it. And so one day after the Fed, on easily the biggest dip that it's had, might not necessarily, I mean, sometimes when it's panic is the time that you want to jump in, but sometimes you want to let it settle down a little bit. And that, to me, this is an example of it, of wanting it to settle down before you start thinking about jumping into it. Because what if it pulls back into the deeper support down at like 440? Like, that's almost 10 points, and that's no laughing matter. It's not as if it's like the super cheap because it's run so far here. So you can always be patient. It's starting the year and everyone's anxious to get money to work. I get that, because you just funded your accredited accounts, but sometimes being patient is a better thing to do. Miss V at the desk.
Hey guys, less than 40 minutes left until the end of this trading day. I hope you're doing great. And here I am to remind you to like this video. We have more than 3,000 viewers right now and only 500 likes. Please help us to get at least 1,000 by the end of this day, guys. Support us, and if you just joined us or simply forgot, here is the perfect time to like this video. Back to you guys.
Hey now. Yeah, like the video, guys. You know, you got to we're wearing the red and black. Neil's looking sharp. Brendan, Ms. V's over there. Trader Prad killing it. Yeah, me and Prad, we go to the same barber now. Prad and I go to the same barber now, and they're lining it up pretty good. So, okay. I don't know. There's lots of names to look at here. I mean, Facebook for me is starting to pull back now, so I don't really understand what's going on with that one. But Facebook right now coming back in a little bit off of a monster start. We're just hovering around. I am nervous about this level. I think, and again, we talk about not shorting your own book, but honestly, for me, whatever. Ray Dalio right now saying expect 3 rate hikes this year. That's what I thought was going to happen anyways. Not 4. I don't know. Maybe some people thought 4 or 2, but it looks like it's going to be 3.
3 is expected.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. So he's just agreeing. Bridgewater's Ray Dalio. It's just a news piece here. I don't think that's sending the market down. That was only a couple minutes ago. But I'm interested in this break right here, man. 332.75. If we break that, we're going to get in it, and then we're only going to give it back to like 333.50. So a quick little hit here on. Well, hopefully not a hit, but we'll take a little quick shot here. 332.75 breakdown on Facebook here. To go back to the downside, I have different charts up that we're looking at. What's going on with DWAC? People.
Yeah, I just literally processed my pay for short here like 2 seconds ago because I saw people started talking about it, and someone was in the chat like, "Don't trade DWAC." If it moves, which as a day trader, if it moves, you tend to want to trade it. So, it's nothing about anything else except for I just saw it pop up on volume. I just saw this lower high at 52.70, exactly where it happens to fail. And then I kind of want to jump in the first consolidation I see. It just so happens to be at yesterday's pre-market high, right around that 52 level, which it does set it up for a little bit of a level around here. And if it takes off the top, fair enough. But we've seen this spike on news before. And if I have a level, I'm going to try and take it. It was pretty cheap. In terms of the pay for short. Brendan's going to have the new story that just dropped right now.
Here goes. Yeah, Trump set to launch his social media app in February, guys. So that's way earlier than I think a lot of people expected. So that just came out there a couple of minutes ago.
February, you say?
Okay, so I'll try it. I'm going to try a 54 break here on this name.
55 is the top, though.
Yeah, I just looked at it. Yeah, 54, 55, who knows? So we didn't even get in? Yes, we did. So we got a 54, 15 right there on DWAC. So we just tried an even dollar break. Where to get out? You guys know that I like to look at these things, kind of where we got started. So maybe back here. Well, that's 51. Ugh, that's too big of a hit. Okay, did we even halt here? No, we didn't. Just increase volume here on this name. I don't have the shortable shares on this, so this may be a multiple dollar hit right here. Maybe back down to 52, we can hold it against that. But I think that's good news, man. The sooner this thing launches, the bigger chance for advertising and to make a little bit of profit off this idea. So let's see if this works here. But I actually didn't even realize where we came from. I may be stuck a little bit high on this name, but here it goes. Let's take a piece out.
It's a multi-day level at that 55. And I think that's, and looking back at it, jumped in on the news, but 55 was the multi-day level. And that reading it, that's where the short should have been, obviously, at that price. But that's what you trade snap news, and sometimes it works out for you, like RCL, like you find something really quick. Other times you jump the gun. I'm going to take a hit on DWAC. But this is the multi-day level on the daily chart, and that's what it looks like. Way, way better when you zoom it further out. Which I always say when in doubt, zoom out, don't I? And when you zoom it out, then you see the multi-day high at 55. Instead, I'm using this and getting slipped. So I tend to usually want to sell the news, and it has come from not just the spike now, but 45 at the bottom. Like, this is actually up. If you really think about it in real terms, like it's up almost, what is that, like $8? So you're talking 15% bottom to top. Here. That's a lot for DWAC. So, I'm not going to rush to the 55 because I feel like it's kind of come and gone. If it tests it one more time and if something makes sense, I might jump into it. There's only half an hour to go, by the way. So that Lucid, I don't know if it's going to get there for that fade trade. The market's still, it's kind of pulling back a little bit, but it's still hanging around in positive territory. We'd love to hang on to that, but the NASDAQ, 0.15. Like, think about how ridiculous the pop was in the market from those lows in a lot of these names, but the NASDAQ, 0.15 to the upside only.
Yeah, okay, so here comes DWAC. Look, guys, if this takes it out on the bottom here, we're going to wait till 52. I was just going to give it down to here. So if we break through 52, this will be a $2 loser. But again, we're looking for action here near the end of the day. So for me on DWAC, although we never like to lose, obviously, but we'll hold this, and we never would have taken without doing, this is pretty much a, flash decision here. So we always talk about, trying to set your expectations for, how much to lose on a trade and things like that. And I'm perfectly fine taking that $2 hit to the downside here. And it's not going to look well because I'm debating taking a piece out. Again, if we get back to this 54.50, I kind of feel lucky here that this isn't completely tanking. So I'm going to put an order at 54.50 or so and see if we do get one more spike up. I don't mind. Run me over, man. Take me out apart. We can capture some profits on this trade. And then here we go. Come on, DWAC. So we're starting to get excited again here on this. So we'll see about that news. Obviously, I'm not even sure if it's hit like mainstream media, let alone mainstream media probably won't pick this story up. I think we all know why. But we'll wait to see here. If it gets going through 54 again, then maybe, there it is. Did I get out? Where's my out? I'm at 54.40. Oh no, that went to 34 there. Okay. Hopefully it just continues to make the move back to the upside. But do we just get, wow, on a stock that just ripped up $8, it stopped within 6 cents of getting us out. But let's see, go.
That is cold-blooded.
That's cold-blooded. But hopefully we take it out right now and it'll go up and we can sort of rest easy that we at least took some profit on this trade. So my attention obviously directed at you, DWAC. So let's get going to the upside, guys, on this name.
This is a horrible segue.
Go. Yes, sir.
Did you get the fill?
Bang, right there for DWAC.
Here's 55 right now.
All right, so we'll wait. Are you
speaking,
sure?
Speaking of D, thank you, D Queen, for the super chat. I didn't want to miss it, but 55 could break right here. And I said that's the only entry that probably matters in front of 55. Wait a minute.
Go show.
No, it didn't break 55 there.
Yeah, it did go to 12, but you...
Okay, no. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it barely broke. But
it barely broke. But that's a better trade. Like I put in the chat, that's a trash entry by me. But that's what you're kind of looking for. Like I don't mind that trade. I just really don't like this trade. Like that's what it should look like. But again,
the spread just opened up to 80 cents.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think both you and I are going to have to give a little bit more room to breathe.
I should be getting back into this.
Yeah, so we'll wait. But my stop is still going to be where it is down there at that 52 level. We've taken off some risk. Again, my bad. I know you like the 55. Let's see if it continues to go. Brendan, you got more news, my friend?
There we go. Funware as well going on this news, guys, as expected. So a nice little bump here through 250. I mean, it's 15 cents, but huge volume for PHUN.
Don't move fast enough. Actually,
why didn't this halt? 49. How fast does it have to go? I mean,
it's more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it went up basically that 5. Nah, it's not. No. Yeah, that's right. It didn't go up 10%. What are we even talking about? DWAC right here, $49 up to 55. That's close to a halt, man. Like that was close to halting. If that halted, then I think we would have had monster winners. So let's wait to see. Hopefully at some point this does halt. And if it halts news pending, we'll take it, man. I mean, I don't care. We already know the news, but let's see where we go here on DWAC. We've already taken some profit, and all we're doing is,
Oh, I got a key for this.
The day here.
I got a key for this chart.
Let's go.
Failed. Let's do DWAC. I'm trashing myself in the chat.
Yeah.
Because it's like, wait for 55 and then don't even give it any room there and then get out. Again, you have to sort of stick to your rules. Like, it did break. It went to like 12s, and that's me getting out when it did do so. It's just like, because visually when I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, my stop triggered, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, we're below 55. Why did that happen? But look, you have to understand that when you're looking at a level 2, the way the market actually works, things are happening so fast with orders that really it's like a vacuum with orders coming in. It's not as stable on a stock like this as what you see visually on a level 2. When it's really going, it is just like it's just one.
Listen to the ironic part of this. January 6th, this is the day that they stormed the Capitol building, isn't it?
Is that today?
Yeah.
Maybe I really shouldn't be sure.
And then now all of it. No, but I'm just wondering if this is all. Like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything, but this is the day it happened. And then all of a sudden, somebody, I'll say it, whatever, President Trump, I mean, this is his story, so whatever. I don't think we're out of line by saying this, is now back in the news on a day like today.
Yeah, now it's breaking.
Let's go, man. Yes, sir. And I want to give a big thank you to the chat because on here, Irish Mac, I don't know who else was mentioning this, but he was like, Sean, don't forget. And if you highlight me, I can see you. Don't forget to thank the chat, bro. So, yeah, of course, man. That's, I think we try to do a good job here of acknowledging you guys, and I want to give a big thank you to all of that. Now, I didn't, make that much money off this. I mean, I'm in the money $1, but we'll wait to see where it goes from here. But there it goes. Yes, sir. Back up through 55. Let's go, man. Run, little man, run. Let's see where we can go on this one. I mean, I don't have any expectations.
There's no way that's a coincidence, by the way, that being true.
I know. That's why I just thought of that, and I was like, I remember today that was one of the days, and I saw current President Biden, of course, talking about that today. And anyways, just one of those funny coincidences, maybe. But we're resisting 55 here, so you know.
This time it did the wick off. You know what's bullish? A bullish is doing a wick off top twice and then still trying to test through. Now, if it manages to push again without getting through like the half and then comes back down, like that would be enough weakness to add to it. Otherwise, it's just like, 3 strikes you're out as far as I'm concerned. The market's starting to roll over. It's like I was talking about, like you couldn't find anything worth shorting at the top because the market was barcoding, right? And then all of a sudden when it starts to roll over, I abandon that plan to short DWAC. So that's basically how my afternoon's going. It's kind of almost jokes. We are getting close to the end of the day. I have to get out of that ATHE, and I'm watching Tesla bounce down to VWAP. Again, it looks like it might start to come down. Even if I get like 53s, like I'm not going to be up on the stock unless it flushes to like 51 or something, which given that coincidence about the date, I feel like there might not be a monster drop in this today.
I know there's a lot of people here that know what country that we're located in. But some people saying, like, how did Neil not know that day? But honestly, it's not like a major news.
It's not ingrained in my...
No, but I was just going to say, it's not like a major news story here, like it probably is south of the border. So, again, and shout out to you, Daryl, as well, thinking that it's probably not a coincidence. And
of course not.
I'm probably with everybody on that one. But anyways, I'm just going to wait for DWAC. And honestly, we got out of it. So if I can lose down here, this is more just monopoly money at this time because I was very nervous about this trade. So when I got that print, we were really excited about it. So we'll wait to see if it falls back down. I know where my out is. It's right here at 52, which will put the trade out, but we got out of 2/3 of the trade right here for 50 cents, which is nothing, but hopefully it comes back to the upside here. You know what's been moving? We talked about Charlie Munger and some of the investments being made into some Chinese names lately. Alibaba today up another 4. So that's really great. Obviously, it's pulling back right now, but if we zoom back in here, you could see what a wild day for Alibaba again. Takes off, completely tanks, and look where it tanked down to. Pre-market bottoms one more time. So if you see here, what a great opportunity to get long off those bottoms. Ran it. I mean, honestly, if you're looking as a day trade, there's almost not a better chart here to pick tops and bottoms because they're pretty clean. Like if you take this bottom there, easy way to get up, and where do you get out? How about past resistance straight up here? And that's exactly what happened. And then it came back in, and now it's just been riding VWAP. So Alibaba, a good name. If you're not sure what to get into, I've said this, and I know Prad's been talking about this as well. The FXI are the large cap Chinese ETF. So if you're looking to get into something again, this is up 1.79. The reason why I like this is you're getting exposure in Tencent, you're getting exposure in Alibaba, JD, kind of all together in one. There's KWEB, which is the internet of the Chinese name. So you can grab that as well. Might be a more aggressive play there. People saying that maybe it's fake DWAC news, but you know what? We're $1 in.
It's now broken the top again, man. Like sometimes it's like you line up the coincidences. It's not a coincidence.
Go gadget.
And it just goes right. Like I think realistically, some stocks are driven purely by momentum, and in this particular case, I can see reasons why sellers wouldn't want to come in. And we talk about opportunity costs all the time. Like I'm not even going to bother showing you the fact that Lucid started to roll over, and that was what I was staring at. So I come over to DWAC, try it 3 times. At least I follow the rules a couple of times here, and not the first time. But then Lucid just starts to roll over. So the opportunity cost of focusing on snap news or flash news, whatever you want to call it, is that when you have like a structured trade, more technical, like you're not going to be able to do it because you do have to focus on something like this when you trade it. It's moving around too fast and there's way too much volatility for you to be jumping from symbol to symbol. So it is what it is. We're always going to trade what moves here because that's what day traders want to do. But there's a cost to that because the market started to roll, pull back. Lucid gave you that nice little curl off the top, and I sat there staring at it doing absolutely nothing because I just decided to come into the DWAC. And at least the room wouldn't have traded because it was 2 cents a share to short. And of course, now it's going to be top wick again. That's the thing. You're never taking trades like this, in my opinion, unless you're willing to make the top wick. And it always sucks when you do. It's never good. But at least it tells you that I can look back and say I followed the rules. Because if you don't, then you're just averaging into oblivion, which at the end of the day, that's how you blow out accounts. You always have to be willing to take the hit and then look terribly wrong on a trade so that you can survive to live another day. Because DWAC, ultimately, it's still running and still strong. Like we're still seeing an upward trend. It's even on a 1 minute, it's still like higher lows here, even as it starts to pull back. Like that was just $1.50 you could have scalped, but it's still kind of going up here, guys. So DWAC on the move. We haven't pulled up, at least I haven't pulled up Funware, which we probably should. And you guys know these moved lockstep. As always, it probably won't halt here because I don't think we're getting those kind of moves. But if you don't remember what happened in Funware when we had those halts, I'm not saying these are going to go crazy tomorrow, but take your profits when these stocks start to halt like crazy, because I remember they held Funware for like an hour or something until DWAC started coming back down and basically screwed everybody that was long in Funware. So this is one of the reasons why we always say take profit on the way up, because you never want to get caught in a trap like that. It says 5-minute, 10-minute halts, but we've seen it before. Like you get some of those where there's no opportunity for you to profit from it if you take it too late.
Yeah, I'm probably, with only 20 minutes left here, I mean, this could blow up big time to the top. But if I can get out at this day's high, I'm going to do this on DWAC. I don't know if there's going to be profit taking. I think the real move, like Neil just mentioned, could happen tomorrow when more information comes out about this. And when, like I said, it's sort of got to let it breathe a little bit. It's just announcing that the website is going to go live on February 21st. So, yeah, okay, if that's ahead of schedule, that would make sense. But up 9% today, I'll take it. So if this can get out to the upside, here it comes right now. We're sitting right here at the day's high. We're almost at day's high right now. And it's just, there we go. We're going to get, hopefully we get out right now, and we'll see where we go. Maybe we shouldn't get out. I don't know. It's bouncing around a lot. And I just want to sort of capture this profit and just top off the day. We've had a great day here today. I'm sitting right here. I'm actually in this clutter at 40. I didn't even realize how big it was there. There's lots of people sitting here. Why is the biggest level here at 40? Literally where I'm waiting right now. Like, I don't understand why people are piling in there, but we are sitting there at 40. So hopefully, like, look at this. I'm waiting at 40. If it prints 38 and not 40 right now, then that's criminal, but whatever. We'll see. Come on, rip it up, man, DWAC. Let someone just, not one of you guys, but if someone just buys 5,000 shares, we're out. Did I just miss that by 2 cents? Anyways, DWAC upside. I'm going to try to get this out.
Yeah, and this, I told you guys, but didn't show you. Like, this is the curl on Lucid. Basically, the exact setup that I'm always looking for. It's like you get that top. It either does a failed break upside through the 39, or you get the lower high rollover, and it's pretty sweet. I mean, the market's also starting to come down, not heavily. I mean, it's enough that we're now threatening to get red. I mean, it could happen. Oh, we did just turn red on the NASDAQ, actually. Forget about threatening to turn red. So 20 minutes to go. Imbalances will be interesting, at least today. I think Facebook would be one that maybe we'll see a little bit of something. It's not to say that you can predict what's going to have an imbalance or what isn't, but the old rule of thumb is if it was volatile today and the market's moving, then sometimes you get a little something there. Lucid, I don't know what this volume spike was, but this... Yeah, it didn't move. Like, Lucid's still sitting here, so it looks like it would still be a good short. That's one way that you could get wicked out of a trade. 40-cent random deprint on actual volume there on Lucid, but it is falling off with the rest of the market. I have to get out of this ATHE because we're flat in 20 minutes or so, and it looks like it's trying to pump back up. It's breaking VWAP. If it breaks 15 again, I'm going to have to punch out.
Okay, so we get into our Facebook trade, taking out the bottom. And guys, we are out of DWAC. Obviously, we got printed there at 55.40. It's at 56 right now. That's the day's high. So I'm pretty happy with it. We knew that we would give it up at that level. We discussed it. And like I said, if you're happy with your trade, then that's all that matters. So a nice little bang trade there for me. And all we're really doing, guys, and again, it's just all about this for me today. We're having a great day. I'm at the highest spot. I have 0 LFT now positioned pending here on, not DWAC, on Facebook. So I'm going to do a little bit of work here, 334 maybe. I mean, I don't want to hold this all the way back to 334. Like, this market could rally on anything here. Like, we could get, a nice imbalance. I mean, imbalances now are only 8 minutes away, so this could rally it. I see VWAP right here at 333.50. So that could be maybe a little bit of an area, but it just kind of dipped up to there. So I'm thinking just north of 333.50 to get out of this one. So there it is, and that's kind of where this run started, so that's what I like. So it's 333.50. We'll give it a little bit more room than that, but this name can run like crazy, so you got to expect a little bit of slippage. So up here, 333.60 or so is going to be my out, and we'll see if we can get it down here. So if I'm going to lose on this trade, that 70 cents, which is basically what we're doing, then we do need to make some profit on this somewhere around that. So we'll sit here a little bit lower than 332 or so. We'll take the bid if we can get it, but we're going to use an out up here at 333.60. So this one could turn out to be a loser, but we're pretty on fire today. So let's see if it can continue one more time.
Yeah, I see people talking about Reliant. There's a lot of other things moving in the market, obviously. I know we're covering. Look, DWAC made a late move on news. Like it's going to capture traders' attention, right? So we're not ignoring anything else. Reliant has done this, I want to say, several times in the last couple of weeks. The last high was a 10 break. Today it actually failed pretty heavily. It's getting right close to what was that last support that was really, really, well, sorry, it already broke this last support that was really good, and that was at $7, and then it had this level at $6. This looks like it'll be actionable for me, down 24%. And if it capitulates 2 days in a row, after what happened on the way up, like this has a lot of room to still fall maybe back to like a $4 level. So watching Rely tomorrow, 24% to the downside. I didn't even realize it. Crazy.
Oh man, sometimes I don't know why I do this, man. Like at the end of the day, I didn't want to lose anything on the trade, so I got out. Like it's way too conservative on that play, but whatever. I talked myself out of it, and there it goes straight up to the upside. But hey, like I'm glad that I was able to stay in it, I guess. But I mean, we were almost stopped out a couple times, so that's why. Like looking at that, whatever, man. I mean, you stick to your rules, but. I should have realized this had so much more opportunity to the upside. I'm happy with it, and we'll put it on the board, and it's a nice win for us. But let's look at NVIDIA. As for some reason, like some of these high quality names, just they don't want to go today. I mean, NVIDIA, sorry. I thought NVIDIA would be down because you know why? I looked at AMD and saw that it was red. And then I thought like, hey, you know, the rest would be, but it looks like this might just be related to AMD as NVIDIA's to the upside there. And we can check out Taiwan Semi. I don't know what that's doing. But right now, AMD down. So you may want to pick up some AMD today because, you know, the other guys, NVIDIA up. What's Micron doing today? 95, that's probably flat. Yeah, up about 1.3%.
Yeah, Marvel's up 1 point.
Yeah,
that's
so
weird.
I don't know. Just a very, very different situation here today. As AMD can tend to lead, today it's the other way around. So we'll look at that. SoFi making a move back to 1350.
Yeah, that's interesting. I want to see if that actually continues tomorrow. Someone asked me earlier about like Global Foundries. If you want something else that's down, by the way, Global Foundries is down 1.6. That was a heck of a rug pull yesterday, and that's something that hasn't recovered either. I'm going to go back to thinking, be patient and wait for 50s on the 50 area for something like that on the long term. Right now, I'm looking at a little bit of, obviously I was looking at Rely, and then Lucid was the other name I was watching. I wanted to come back to Affirm because as the market starts to roll over, you want to see how some of these names that put in those monster runs, how do they hold up today? Like, well, I guess we're not really rolling over that much. We just turned red on the NASDAQ and are holding fort, but are they going to hold some support? Or are we actually going to see some capitulation? Like, what kind of a bid do these have when they get under pressure? Because there hasn't been that much pressure on these recovery names going into the second half of today. With 15 minutes to go, it doesn't mean you got to force the trade. And I don't think I would put a trade on an Affirm this far away from a key level, but certainly it's a good time to start picking where these good levels might be. Like a lot of times that can work out pretty well for you, sort of picking out where these levels are going to end up. I'm going to be watching obviously some GameStop and AMC as well because GameStop was giving you, I mean, AMC was good too, but today, and we don't touch the meme stocks very often, but GameStop was giving you these consolidation random breaks and did it a couple of times. And it started really respecting the top, both on the long side and then able to sort of short it there. So I kind of want to be looking at these when levels are good on massive moving days. If you get a chance to trade them the next day, a lot of times you can take advantage of them because liquidity wasn't there in the middle. That's why it gravitates to those prices. And then suddenly you have, you know, supply and demand catch up, and maybe the same thing happens, and you can strike lightning in a bottle twice in a row.
This is hilarious. Like, Facebook is just hovering around here. And shout out to John. Yeah, what's up? Have a great night as well, my friend. And then, yeah, I'm all for this, guys. I mean, at Trader TV, Sean on Twitter. You guys right here said, where is it? JD's. What's up, JD's? Obviously a member as well. Sticky Note Nation for sure, man. And shout out to you as well because, you know, this is what we're creating, man. An environment of money with Sticky Note Nation. And everybody unite, guys. JD's right here. Tweet me. He wants to tweet me his NVIDIA trade strategy. So yes, always, always, always. And there we go. Yes, okay, wicked, man. Trade that, send that to me, please, because we're just trying to learn. Like, you know, the strategies that I have here that are part of Sticky Note Nation, you guys can see those every single day, but I'd love to add some of your strategies and ideas to the board so that, you know, if I'm out of something, I can look back and say, okay, you know, what are we looking at? And we're always trying to educate and do better. So, I mean, if you're standing still, then you're not doing anything. So that's not what you want to do at trading. The market changes every single day, every single minute, it seems like. So, you know, stay, you know, just grounded and make sure that you're always updating and talk to your community. And exactly what we're doing here on the show is building what I think, and we've already done it, is a fantastic community. And I want to thank everybody for supporting us as well. So thank you for all of that. I'm trying to support my Facebook trade. We take that as a breakdown, and it looks like everybody else looking at the same levels here because it's not doing anything. It goes into the money for me about 40 cents 3 times, and we didn't take it because, again, our out is a little bit north, and we may get taken out of this. Our out is a little bit north of 333.60 here. So if that goes back to the upside, that will be the dollar hit, which is why we didn't take 40 cents on the first part. So we got to have a better risk to reward than that. So we will wait to see what's coming through here on Facebook to the downside. Targets 332. I have a bid there. If it gets down, we'll get out. If not, we will get taken out on the top side. But again, it's kind of like a nothing for me. It's a nice position. But again, I think we're sized properly heading into the close of the day with only a minute left, Neil, before imbalance. Yeah, not a minute left before.
You said that I was like, it's 3:59. I almost like crap my pants, but. Well, not really. I have to hit the countdown. It's not that big of a deal. I wanted to get to RCL quickly because one of the things about short seller reports is you always get that, well, you usually get that first day massive sell-off, and a lot of times they're already short before they make that play. So let's assume Hindenburg, they're short somewhere around 82, 83, they're in the money. If that second day after the report, they hold an obvious support level, like let's imagine we don't break 76, like this is just done falling, and you go back to the daily chart where that's actually like, look at the run RCL's been on here, like that's close to the 50 period. It's actually not that bad of a support level. And if that gets held tomorrow, then you know a lot of shorts are caught in this, and usually reports come down on heavily shorted names anyways. That can be a decent bounce back long, or people say dead cat bounce. I guess we shouldn't say that because we like cats, we like pets. But you might get a bit of a bounce off that. So I'm putting 76 on a watch in RCL. If you can manage to hold that level, and of course you hit the key, then I want to look for that one to possibly be a dead cat bounce tomorrow. Brendan, although imbalances just came out.
There's cats flying around everywhere. Remark Holdings just got back above $1. So this was the other one, if you remember, that was tied to DWAC along with Funware. So Mark here just broke that $1 level, guys.
All right, and so yesterday, guys, at this time, and okay, we'll show the imbalances first. Nothing, so you don't have to worry about it. The Apple imbalances is here as a buy, so that could rally a little bit here. We'll look at Apple quickly. Apple, there it is. So it's starting to rally off that imbalance. So not a bad little move upside there for Apple, but again, as I look on the board here, guys, we've seen numerous thousands, whoopsies. We've seen tons of shares. What have I done here? Tons of shares on here. So anything north of 1 million is what we looking at, and I don't see anything here that's of any real value. So we can close the case on that one. And where's my case closed? There it is. Oh, I just had it. Case closed on the imbalances. I don't think they're really going to be doing anything right here. Let's just check in on how our trade has been. DWAC still making new highs there, so good, not close enough anyways, all the way to 59, hovering around the high. So that's going to be a good trade. We're going to wait for our Facebook to try to do something. Who knows if that's going to come in right now, but yeah, I don't know. Anything else? Oh, what I was going to get at was Lucid yesterday, and people asking me for swing trade ideas. I guess it's because we hit a home run yesterday as far as this Lucid call. We talked about this yesterday going long at 36. So you could see here that we had this base yesterday building on Lucid. So you're long 36, and then now you're going to be able to get out at 38. So good trade if you want that. For a swing trade for today, the only thing I could really say, and I'm in the stock, so, you know, but what about Facebook? I mean, the market just turned red, so that's not a good sign, okay? But I'm wondering about if the market can somehow be green tomorrow. We see the monster move that Facebook had today up to 340. So I'm just wondering if you have a little bit of a base. Now you got to go all the way down to 320 before you really find a base. But again, like Facebook, it seems to have caught a bid. Like we stopped yesterday at 323. So I kind of think like $10 down. I believe $10 higher is before $10 down. But again, the market continues to be weak, and it's hard for me to recommend, and I know a lot of you don't want to hold anything short overnight, so all the swing plays I'm trying to give you are longs, but I'm a little bit nervous here as the NASDAQ, it's not closing on its lows, but it's definitely not closing near its highs. So right now, a little bit nervousness here on the NASDAQ, so I don't really have so much confidence in the swing plays like I did with Lucid yesterday.
There was a question someone asked, does Tesla ever have imbalances? Just about every single stock that trades on the New York NASDAQ or AMEX is going to have an imbalance and some kind of open interest into the auction. The only reason you never see, and you pretty much will never see Tesla at the top, is it's so expensive that the actual amount of shares is usually pretty tiny. So I just had it. It was like a few thousand. Like it's 28,000 shares here on the imbalance, 27,000 shares with a paired volume of 200,000. The notional value can sometimes be big, but yeah, the list is ridiculous. Like you can see, like this is basically everything in NASDAQ in New York, like all alphabetical. Like it's ridiculous how big the list is. I had to sort just to be able to find it. Yeah, it's just that a lot of times with the expensive names like that, you're just not going to see a gigantic number, notional number. Like Apple at $1 million, you might see, but on $1,000 stock like Tesla, a lot of times it just won't happen for that. Another name I'm going to be watching today at a specific level is this Peloton at 33. You do see it was a high in the morning, and then held support there in the afternoon. So it's at an absolute bottom. You get wick-off bottoms all over the place. A good higher low would be that 33 level. So that's going to be on watch for me. Look, Al, don't even worry about it. Like, we love answering questions. I'm not going to be in any trades in the next 5 minutes or so, right? So don't mind answering questions or talking about the imbalance locator. We're kind of all about education here. And believe we've brought traders in when we were hiring traders and probably talked about and explained the imbalance locator like 100,000 times. Although I'll say this. Arun,
that's not an over-exaggeration.
It's not. But Arun does a really good, he's like calm, collected, and meticulous approach to talking about the imbalances, which I feel like you could watch any of the shows when he was on, or maybe we should get him to do one of the videos with us and do one on imbalances. And we have lots of videos out there. I'm surprised. I want to say we've done one on the imbalance locator, and then maybe you could check that one out. If we haven't, I apologize for saying that, but I'd swear we have done one.
Yeah, you don't have to swear. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that we did one there. There it is. So look at this, man. Facebook. Cha-ching! One more time, guys. Like, the money today is quite nice for this, because here we go, right down to the downside. Target almost hit here. Are we going to get our 332? I'm sitting on the bid. Can we get it? I am not sitting on the bid. I just double-checked this. So let's get on the bid right now to the downside here on Facebook. It just cracked. Give me it. Give me that nut. Bang, right there for a nice little win here on Facebook to the downside. Boom, there it is. We end the show. The People's Trader, knock on wood, but I'm back tomorrow. So that's it. Close the show. We're exhausted. Hopefully, I think it's lasagna tonight, so the wife is ready to rock and roll.
We just had pasta for lunch.
You had the
salad. We had spaghetti and meatballs. So I don't know, we get a catered lunch here, so you never want to have exactly the same thing for lunch as dinner, because we kind of get dinner food for lunch. I'm not saying you can't do it, it's just, I always find it weird, so I don't think we're having lasagna.
Squirrels get their nuts. I don't know. I mean, you guys got to get your mind out of that gutter.
You guys are you're all terrible.
Look at this. Terrible maybe, but trading Nepa on that one as we go to the downside there. I mean, this would have been a way bigger trade if it wasn't. It's too bad that we're actually closing right now the day, because honestly, I would have held this trade. This trade just absolutely just based out perfectly there all the way to the downside. So there it is right there. Facebook just cash money, breaks that low, we didn't even blink on getting out of that trade on the upside. So again, another successful one. And there it is right there, man. So really, really happy with this trading today. Yeah, Cardano up 6% today. Yeah, I mean, this is great. Yo, what's up, Sean DeBot there in the house? I don't know what he's saying, but good friend of ours. I just saw Neil mention there.
He asked us if we still have sandwich day, because back Sean, when you were here, we get those cold sandwiches or hot sandwiches like 3 times a week. We basically don't anymore. It's actually really fantastic. I got to say they do a fantastic job. We're pretty lucky to be on the floor here. Like, we get great lunches, no massages anymore, but beggars can't be choosers. Only about 3 minutes to go in the market. It looks like we're going to hold in the red, obviously, in the overall. Heading back into the downside there. I'm going to go ahead and blame Bullard, maybe, because he opened his mouth and we turned around late in the day.
Rest in peace to my man Easy. So if you know where that's from, then you're all over that. So yeah, what a great trade. And again, thank you for everything. I know you guys are here for the entertainment as well, and we're going to be providing that as much as we can. But there it is. We also talked about that Beyond Meat. I mean, someone hit that in the chat a while ago, and I really liked that breakdown trade right there of 68. So whoever had that was a good little look there as well. So shout out to you, and then shout out, of course, to our amazing chat. Look at this DWAC. I should still be in this one, but whatever. We're at the highest spot we're at all day, and that was a good one. Congratulations to anybody long DWAC, no matter what you feel about the stock. Some people don't want to trade these because, again, there's some political ties to it. So, but there it is, a nice move for DWAC. This will be on the radar tonight for me. We'll do a little bit more work tomorrow. And hey, man, maybe we break 100 tomorrow. I have no idea what's going on with this stock.
If that breaks 100, I'll probably get shut down.
I won't.
I probably will. That's pretty crazy. But crazier things have happened. Like, we've seen runs like that before. But ultimately, usually, like, a lot of times you'll get that massive retracement. 90 seconds here. I'm kind of looking at the overall market. Lucid's trying to pump back up here, and then I'm watching that Peloton. I don't have to punch out of this last position that I'm in, but the spread is like, it was like a million shares in the bidder offer. So I'm just looking to punch out with the seconds to go to get a fill.
Yeah. So we're almost closing the day off here. And again, guys, thank you so much. I mean, the chat has been absolutely fantastic. If you can hit the like button, that's what's important for us. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. And then you know what we don't say enough? Share. Hit the share button. Send this to all your friends, man. Like, everyone's, people on the chat, this is the best station. There's more education here than I've ever received. Like, I'm just reading the chat. And I mean, it's you guys that make this happen. So thank you so much again today. And we're not going anywhere, believe me. As long as I'm breathing, I'd like to have a seat at this desk. So we're ready to rock and roll. We're back tomorrow. Thank you so much. There it is right there. Christopher, thank you so much. And I see, you might have seen in the background a lot of action today. It's because we're all about improving, man. We're going to make bigger and better changes here in 2022, guys. So let's get ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, the desk isn't going anywhere, but the desk, hey, maybe it gets bigger one day.
1K Miss V on the like. So thank you so much again. Yeah, there she is over there with only 10 seconds left, though, Miss V.
Good.
Let's get ready to ring that register.
I think it might be dead on this time.
You think you got it this time?
I think I got it. 4, 3, 2. I think we got it.
And there she is. Come on, Ms. V. Yeah, more of a smile there, Ms. V. Yeah, there we go. Okay, she hit that. The thing about it is, I'm always looking back and I'm scared that it's going to be Randy ringing the bell.
But he's not here today, so I wasn't worried about it.
That's true, but like that's always in the back of my mind because like I almost went deaf.
You get like a headache.
I think it was like 3 or 4 times. And then when Arun rang the bell, like, man, if you go back and look at his face when he rang that bell, I was like,
he's got the guns.
What was forget about the guns. Like, I don't know what he was like possessed that day that he hit the bell. So shout out to you, Arun. I hope you were able to make some money on the futures today. Brendan, though,
I'm sure you did.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to steal a little bit of your fire here. Looks like the NASDAQ, what do you think?
Didn't get there. We were so close. Here we go. Yeah, 0.13 for the S&P, guys, back in the red. We were positive, obviously. Same story for the NASDAQ there. 0.5% for the Dow, 2 days in a row to the downside, obviously, for the Dow. Yeah, big move back up late in the day there for crude oil, 2% in positive territory. We'll watch some of those energy stocks again tomorrow. Big trades on a few of those today. And yeah, we won't talk about cryptocurrencies because they only go down recently, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, look, if the Dow's going to be lagging because you had a recovery day, right? So recovery day in the market, well, recovery day for tech and the valuation names means Dow was going to be down, but it actually wasn't that bad. You got to chalk it up as at least a half a win here for the markets, I got to say, because you hold close to flat after what was this morning looking like it could have been disaster. Just watch TSM make a big move at the close.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there. I'm kind of curious. I'm going to find out why TSM was like $2 right there at the close and then sort of came right back. Weird move, but anyways, I'm not sure what happened there.
Oh, M&M bought a Bored Ape. Yeah, so I have a Top Shots and I have a Wall Street Bets Bull. So I'm in the NFT game as well. I really like that new asset class, NFTs. Who knows where it's going to go, but interesting story there, of course, as we look at that. So, hey guys, what a fantastic day. I want to give a big shout out. If you don't want to be on the screen in a minute, get out of there, because I want to give a big shout out. There we go. There we go. I want to give a big shout out to Rob, to Maggie, to Lucas as well. A big show today. Thank you so much for the switching. Fantastic. And a big shout out to Trader Prad, if he's over there. What's up, Prad? Thanks for holding it down. Another amazing show. Check out our market movers, guys, right after us every day, 11 to 2 with Trader Prad and Miss V, who we now have. Oh, dusting off her shoulder there. Wow. Okay, Ms. V. So I know it was a rough day for you on Tesla, but we'll be back tomorrow.
I feel you. It happened to me too.
Yeah. I mean, look, market was violent, but we survived, and so did you. So join us again tomorrow. Sleep well. End of the week should be a good one, and it's been a great week, so why not? We'll see you tomorrow at 8:30. Ciao.